a lot to be known about people. You gotta reach them, see it right down.
Read the Declaration of Independence. A very large number of its specific charges against Great Britain involved dictatorial judges. The fact is, the Founding Fathers deeply distrusted judges and thought that the lawyer class was dangerous and that you could not give them unbridled power or they would undermine and destroy free society. Now, this is not some marginal position. Thomas Jefferson, asked about judicial supremacy, said, that is an absurdity. That would be an oligarchy. And it's doubly dangerous because, you see, if judges think that they are unchallengeable, they are inevitably corrupted. Corrupted in a moral sense. I don't mean taking money, but I mean in a sense of arrogance, in a sense of imposing on the rest of us. Lord Acton warned in the 19th century that power tends to corrupt, and absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Want to get it off your chest? You're in the right place. They accuse this show of being run by boobs. Well, let me tell you about us boobs. We're real and we're spectacular. Want politics and fun sprinkled with a lot of laughs? Heard in every state in the Union and 1,000 cities around the world. We just finished 16 years of broadcast excellence, now in our 17th year. The Dave Weinbaum Show is streaming live all over the world. Criminal judges who are really the crooks being rightfully knocked down by the SCOTUS Supremes, as if Trump, who heads the executive branch, needs them. He doesn't. And it's a 90% favorable Trump, 10% unfavorable. Ridding us of the murderers, rapists, who sex traffic children and women, and Mexican cartels who share the profit with the Democratic Party. Judges for the above and fentanyl murdering hundreds of thousands. And it's all made in China. This is what the Democratic Party stands for. The support this, along with cheering when stocks go down and threatening to oust and or kill Donald Trump and Elon Musk. Also, a 90-10 pro-Trump prospect. They want all the illegal and criminal migrants to be returned from the Biden-Obama-Kamala-sponsored invasion for his entire 4 years, getting all these aliens flown in to terrorize Americans, put them up in fancy hotels, give them food, health care, give them cash to spend, all from the pockets of hardworking Americans. We resent this. The Dems also demand we keep supporting the brutal Ukraine, Russia, and Hamas in the Israel war. You know, the ones that Trump is trying to stop. And those are the ones that Biden basically started. Enough about these Dem Libyans. Later in the show, I want to share a personal story of part of my family who starred in the play Annie and their contribution to life and its incredible opportunities if you would only side with the babies as possibly as you can and not for people who want to murder them.
And the courts in the last 53 years have proven that Lord Acton's right. Because with each passing decade, the judges have become more hostile to the American tradition. They now openly talk about using foreign sources of information because, after all, the American Constitution is so old and so antiquated. A justice who believes that shouldn't be serving on the American bench. One of the major impediments and threats to democracy today is the very behavior of the law schools, which teach a usurpation of power in a way that is utterly unsustainable. Founding Fathers designed our Constitution based on Montesquieu's concept of the balance of power. We're supposed to have three co-equal branches. There can be no supremacy if there are three co-equal branches, by definition. Otherwise, you'd have a superior branch and two inferior branches. But it's worse than that. If you read Hamilton in the Federalist Papers, he says the courts couldn't possibly take on the legislative and executive branch because they would inevitably lose.
Hey, we got a great show for you today, and it's a birthday for somebody in this room, and that would be J.P. Maxwell, the producer. Happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you.
Happy birthday. And we're going to let you play a little bit of you actually, well, you went against Title IX, let's put it this way. Right. You're playing against women in a basketball game.
Yeah.
I don't know how you got away with it, but I'm not going to tell anybody. There were some people there. No, it was a fundraiser kind of thing, you know.
Yep.
I don't think you knocked anybody down, did you? You didn't do that.
Not that I'm aware of.
But
no.
you did knock one down. And
I did knock one down, so we're gonna play that.
Knock one down.
And let me see here if I can get this to actually play correctly.
Okay. There it is.
Now I got to try to share my screen.
Not going to be huge. And while he's getting that, let's talk about Rick Henderson. He does all the bits and the clips. And I'm going to try to get on later. Oh, I got the Rabbi coming in at 8:10. I got the Rabbi's coming in at 8:40. JJ, and he's got a lot of stuff to talk about. JJ Bradshaw is coming in at 8:10. Chris Adamo 9:30. Joe Dalton 10 o'clock, and we're going to be talking a lot about the Annie show there too. And we've got Jeff Zink, who might be making a big announcement on this show. I think he will be, quite frankly. So stay tuned. You got that clip?
I don't know if it's going to let me play it. I'll try a little bit more here, but
we're not going to spend a lot of time on it. Nothing personal.
No, absolutely not.
All right. I just had this concept of him shooting something, and
yeah,
it wasn't a dog, so don't get upset.
No, definitely not. Thank God.
It wasn't a deer. Not that that's illegal, but
Okay, I think.
All right, hit it.
I think I've got it figured out.
Hit and go. There you go. All right, so we're playing basketball here, and you see you even have a referee, and there he is. There he is, in the white shirt. They're coming down. Now watch this guy play it right there. The heavy guy right there. Look at that. A three! He hits a three! Oh my God! The eve of his birthday, and he hits a three. And he didn't knock down any women. I checked with him, and that was
I made
good.
sure of that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that was his little birthday gift to himself.
Yep.
And he put out his fingers to the fans, waving the three around.
Yeah, so everybody that if you watch the NBA at all, Steph Curry, who's one of the infamous 3-point shooters in the history of the game, always does the three for. So I said, if I hit one, I'm doing it. And sure enough, when I hit that shot, I had to look back at our bench and did the three, and they did it back.
So you're imitating Steph Curry?
Steph Curry. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Steph Curry. All right.
Yep.
Okay. Well, that's terrific stuff. And like I said, we got a great show coming up. We got Trump's tariffs. We're going to talk about that a little bit. All of them seem to be cooperating. They're going to have a couple signings here pretty soon. They got 70 guys that want to make a deal. One big one that don't, and that's China. And alrighty then, they're throwing numbers at each other that nobody believes, and we have the upper hand, not China. And China's going to, we'll see what they do. Either they're going to start World War III, or they're going to be regulated like everyone else, and they're not going to rip us off anymore. And now the UK seems to be going Muslim. Christians and Jews are discriminated against highly, and we have a blip at our blip. How did I call him a blip? I don't know, but he's going to be pissed off over that. I wouldn't blame him. You know, here's our guy right here. This man is. With the numbers of the guy collecting from the IRS, I have to think about it. 256 years old. Okay. And he is an expert on the Constitution, probably helped write it as a child. And he used to hang out in the Ye Old Tavern down in Virginia. And, him and Jefferson and Washington, Franklin, they used to hang out and look for pioneer women. Please welcome all the way from Rolla, Missouri, the 256-year-old wonder, John Jeffrey Bradshaw.
Thank you, Dave.
Bradshaw. I said it twice. Good morning. How are you?
I am great. JP Maxwell, you have managed to survive another trip of the sun around, or the Earth around the sun. Good job. And
all right, thank you.
Yay for the 3-point. I couldn't make one of those if my life depended on it. So thankfully, my life does not depend on it. So good for you.
56-year-old guy. I don't know. You ain't dunking anymore, pal. No, I'm sorry.
I'm done. I'm cooked. Say, in your monologue, you mentioned the tariffs, so we might as well start with.
Well, let's start with the tariffs.
The network news has done so much crying over this. Recall Chicken Little, the sky is falling, the sky is falling. Of course, network news always goes for the splash. So here's what happened. Trump on Tuesday did an amazing thing with tariffs. He jacked them way up high. Now, I suspected early on that this was a negotiating tactic. It would fit right in with the way he does business. And in fact, it was a negotiating tactic. Brought a whole lot of people to the table mighty quick, like every country in the world. And he jacked up things on China. Well, look at our stock market. Now, the stock market is a volatile enterprise no matter what, and it reacts to politics quickly and sometimes direly. And the network news folks were squawking, oh my God, stock market crash. We're going to go into recession. This is 1928 all over again. And in fact, a few days later, Trump said, nah, we're just going to put 10%, except for the Chinese. And the stock market came back up. So China's getting 125% tariff. Our stock market went down and then back up. The volatility was about 7%. Some say 9%. This is in no way a stock market crash, Dave. Now, my exposure to the stock market is quite small. I'm old and I need reliable income. I can't handle that volatility. But the network folks were saying, oh my God, people's 401ks, their 403bs, their Roth IRAs are going to tank, and these people will be in the breadline tomorrow. And I must say that to the networks, you did this badly, folks. If you would just do what the reliably good conservative media outlets do, is you wait a few days and see how this thing shakes out. And you make sure that facts are actually facts, not something.
Wait a minute. You expect them just to sit there silently and wait for things to come out? How long you been around this earth, my friend, to see a journalist ever do that?
I've been on this rock for a very long time, and if you take the long view of things, Dave, which I do because I'm old, the long view, all this noise tends to cancel out, and in the end, you're left with fact. Now, will the leftist news media do any of this? Of course not. They're going to have to be out of business before this gets straightened out. And kudos to Newsmax and others like them who don't panic, who actually interview people that have facts instead of folks that run around screaming the sky is falling. Right. So, Yeah, anyway, that's my rant for the tariffs. I think Trump's, this was all a matter of leverage, and he did it successfully. Why did he do it successfully? Because people panicked, and he was relying on that. Uh, in the long run, these tariffs, 10% tariffs, not too bad. I got a little graphic here I want to show you.
Okay.
This is Canada. And these are tariffs that Canada imposes on the United States as of last.
We can't see the numbers.
It doesn't matter. I'll tell you a couple of the most.
Oh, it's a couple of them. Yes, please.
United States butter, 313%. In fact, all dairy products to Canada are over 270%. Things like cheese, 245%. These now, what does this mean? Well, the Canadians have a pretty strong dairy industry, at least in the south part of Canada, and they are protectionist. So they buy their own products, they tax the hell out of us, and of course, we don't ship much to them as a result of that because United States products would be so ridiculously high. This is tariffs 101. Now, I think Trump has gotten the Canadian government's attention. I think Trudeau and his buddies are facing some economic hardship. So let's negotiate. Let's negotiate with Trump. Okay, I've said enough about tariffs. I think Trump leveraged this very well. It was well played.
No, he's also trying to leverage it into them becoming part of the United States of America. Probably not going to happen, but I think it's a damn good idea. Here's the thing that I don't think we do tariff. The fact that we're going to protect them if they're attacked militarily. What's that worth to them?
Well, it ought to be worth an awful lot, Dave, don't you think?
Yeah, I would think so.
So he's gotten their attention, and that's what he attempted to do.
He's got some cards to play there yet.
This is not your garden variety politician. If you look at what we've had with Obama, the apology tour, and Biden, the don't know nothing tour.
You find the tariff deal.
We've got a president that's actually pretty sharp and is a pretty good negotiator. Let's talk about politics for a minute. Our House of Representatives actually passed the SAVE Act. Now, this thing's been around for a while. It's called Safeguard American Voter Eligibility, and it passed the House by a 220 to 208 vote. 4 Democrats actually voted for it, and the balance of the Democrats, 208 of them, voted against it. Well, what is the SAVE Act? It requires proof of citizenship to vote in federal elections, period. This is something a number of states already do. If you voted in the municipal election the other day here in Rolla, you would have had to show some form of identification, and your name was checked off of a voter roll. So you've already been screened. You just have to prove that you are you. But 208 Democrats voted against election integrity.
Gee, isn't that interesting? Now, how popular is that? Isn't that what everybody wants? That's what we want, don't we? We don't want to know that it was cheated, do we? Come on.
I do want to know that it was cheated.
When they're honest.
Yeah, of course.
Just trust them, right? This is the Democrats saying this to us. Trust us.
Yeah, trust me.
We don't need all that, those crappy little laws and rules and stuff. We don't need the paper. We need the machines.
Checks in the mail, Dave.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. This thing's going to have a tough time in the Senate because the Senate will filibuster this thing if it gets over to the Senate. But for those of you who pay attention to this stuff, pay attention to this. You've got an awful lot of Democrats that do not support honest and fair elections, period.
Yeah, right now you call them independents or Republicans.
Well, yeah. Actually, John F. Kennedy would be considered a Republican by today's standards. Let's talk about the budget, because the big, beautiful budget plan, this thing's gone through a lot of iterations.
It's getting there.
216 to 214 vote in the House, $5.8 trillion. The GOP leadership if you could trust them, suggests that there will be an awful lot more budget cuts, spending cuts in the future. I wish they would outline them, but that might make this bill a little less than palatable. And beyond that, there's suggestion that the debt limit be increased by $5 trillion. I'm not a big debt limit fan, but I might take that in the short term if you can prove to me that in the long term we're going to reduce that deficit and balance our budget.
I have a question. I have a question. So there's a 61 limit to this 61 vote limit in the Senate, which we don't have the votes for.
Right.
How do they get it down to the 51 that we'll need?
Well, this is a budget
on the show right here.
This is reconciliation.
Yeah.
If this is an honest to God budget package, it would have to have 60 plus votes in the Senate to pass. That's that 2/3 majority business. But the way they get around that, this is reconciliation. It's a shell game, Dave, but it's a shell game these people have been playing for decades.
Yeah, so that's the only way we're going to get it passed.
So that's right. You're going.
And how do you do that again under these circumstances?
What's that?
How do you get this the way you want it to be, so you can win by a couple of votes and not lose by 8?
Yeah, this is reconciliation, and only requires 50%, 51 votes. It would take 60 votes to pass it if it was real legislation.
Okay.
Our Congress has been shirking their duties for years, Dave. They don't want to look bad. They don't want their constituents to not vote for them the next time, because then the gravy train ceases for them. So we use this stupid reconciliation because it's the only thing we have. What a shame that our Congress doesn't actually grow some cojones and do the right thing because it's the right thing. But
that's what they're doing it for, though. They're doing it because it is the right thing.
Yeah, I'll grant you that.
They're doing it because it is the right thing, and they don't want to get caught in it.
They don't want to be on the wrong side of this thing.
Right.
And speaking of the wrong side, Chuck Schumer's popularity is going way down. There was a poll done the other day that said, get this, Dave, this is how stupid they've become in the Democrat Party, that AOC may be the replacement for Chuck Schumer as the minority leader in the Senate. Are you kidding me? This is a woman that couldn't mix a cocktail and get it right. That there's actually a poll that said she's gaining on this guy. Well, not Chuck Schumer's. He's no moron, okay? I hate the man. No, I don't hate. I dislike the man greatly.
I dislike him. Yeah,
I dislike him with a vengeance. But
he's an anti-Semitic Jew, for God's sakes.
He's no dummy.
He hates himself.
The fact that a real dummy like AOC might be gaining on him, this amazes me. This tells me that the left has gone right into the crapper, Dave.
Yeah.
And well, good. I wish them no good luck. I'd like to see them go down in flames. That would be fine with me. Let's talk about inflation for a minute.
Okay.
You remember Biden's Build Back Better plan and his Inflation Reduction Act. And we went from practically no inflation to a peak of 9.2% during his tenure.
Yeah.
Well, inflation is down to.
They were going to fix the border, too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Checks in the mail, Dave. Inflation just hit a 4-year low, about 2.4%.
Yeah.
And the economists that I have read say that 2.4% is okay. I don't necessarily agree with that. But why is it down? Jerome Powell of the Fed would say, well, we did that. We have manipulated interest rates.
But he didn't do a damn thing.
Nah, that's absolutely right. He rearranged the deck chairs on the Titanic is what it amounts to. No, the reason inflation is down is because people have some confidence in Donald Trump, and by reference, some honesty in our federal government. People tend to trust them more than they did during the Biden cabal. That's why inflation is down. Now, what's inflation?
Don't forget about Yellen. Is her name Yellen?
Janet Yellen.
She was yelling this morning
about
how terrible the tariff situation is.
Yeah.
Because China's getting screwed. She's worried about China.
Aren't we pleased? Aren't we pleased with that? Like, all right, as long
these
as
are the top national financiers, finance geniuses.
As long as you mention China,
let's
take a look at China's economy briefly.
Okay.
China is upside down in their commercial real estate market and has been for a couple of years now. Beijing continues to build high-rise buildings that nobody occupies. They continue to build residential structures that nobody occupies, and they're doing this on the government dole.
Why are they doing it?
Well, they have a dictator, and if you recall the Rhodes Plan that came out of China, they're trying to manipulate their currency and trying to continue to be a world power. And let me tell you, this a whole bunch of tariffs, like 125%, not going to help them much. Their exports are going to tank. Now, will their leadership negotiate? Z, probably not. Some of the less hardline folks in their government, probably. They can see economic ruin coming here. Can we absorb?
Do you think he's going that much in charge?
Oh, I think the man is a serious dictator, much like Hitler. I wouldn't doubt him for a moment.
I'm wondering if he's being, if he's doing this, or are the other guys forcing him to do this?
Well, this is China.
I don't know who's really running the show there.
We're talking monolithic government in China, so you really can't tell who's pulling the strings.
I mean, you don't know either.
He's the guy that's visible. And what I'm telling you is this: Trump, he took a 9-iron and hit them in the nads because they had a shaky economy to begin with. Their internal economy is just terrible, terrible amounts of poverty in that country. And now Trump is hitting them in the economy where it hurts them the worst.
And they're about to lose the Panama Canal to the U.S. I think they've already lost it.
So did Trump hit them pretty hard with that 9-iron, and I think at some point they're going to have to negotiate. What choices do they have? Well, they could do what the U.S. used to do. Anytime we got in a bind, we'd start a little foreign war someplace, a little proxy war. Think places like Vietnam, Afghanistan, Iran, or Iraq. That's
they're not going to hit us. You know who they'll hit? They'll hit Taiwan.
Taiwan is game number one, and you better look out for Japan as well.
Attacks on them right now.
Mm-hmm. Taiwan and Japan. So, what's the guy going to do now? If you start a nasty little war, all of a sudden your expenditures in ammunition and aircraft fuel and all of these things shoot way up in an economy that's already, it would be in terrible inflation shape if you didn't manipulate the currency, which China does continuously. At some point the curtain gets pulled back by the little old dog, and you see the man that's behind there pulling the levers. I think that's fixing to happen in China. I'm surprised, Dave, that they haven't had a little revolution in that country. Things are bad enough, I think. So we will see. But Trump 9-ironed him right in the nads, and I'm so glad that he did, because that needed to happen.
Every time you say that, I hurt a little bit, because that's what happened to Tiger Woods and his wife.
Be happy
with the 9-iron between the legs.
You need to be very happy that I don't own any golf clubs.
You come down here. Oh my God, he just threatened me.
No, of course
not. Don't get him any golf clubs for his birthday.
No golf clubs. But the fact is, Trump, by doing this 125%, has upped the ante substantially on the Chinese, and they're going to have to react or face economic ruin. Yeah. Will they come to the negotiating table? I think at the end they will. I think they're going to have to. Their margin in their economy is quite slim, certainly much narrower than ours. And they are very much dependent on us and India for their trade. And, I think Trump has nailed them. I think
I
in
think
the
he's
next few
nailed them,
weeks.
but I think they might be too embarrassed and they might start a war.
Well,
Over that kind of vanity.
possibly.
Might start a war, and then it's a kind of a different situation, isn't it?
Well, will we come to the defense of Taiwan? Probably.
I don't know. Well, that means it's a world war.
Well, we're mighty close to it already, Dave.
I know. They got a lot of nukes in China, I heard.
Well, I heard we've got a few too, but let's hope it never goes to
that. It doesn't matter who wins that war. Where a lot of us going to die.
Yeah, everybody loses. That's that mutually assured destruction out of the 1960s, which worked okay in the Cold War, but I'm not sure that we have leadership in the Asian countries that are like the leadership in the Cold War. At least the Russians we could predict. The Chinese, maybe not so much. And the Iranians, let's not forget the Iranians. These are the folks that are funding terrorism worldwide.
They are pretty predictable.
Would not surprise me if at some point Israel, with the support of the United States, didn't bomb the hell out of them.
Oh, I think it's close. Well, I don't. You know what? These guys can't. These guys cannot stand up to Israel on their own. Iran, and they've depleted a lot of their weapons, and the people hate them. The Iranian people hate their government. They actually like and love Israel. They like and love Netanyahu.
Recall that this was Persia before it was Iran.
Right.
And in 1979, that was a relatively westernized country.
It was.
Persian people were wearing miniskirts and not having to wear a hijab. And when the Ayatollahs took over, this was turned into a third world country, a fairly rich third world country, but seriously repressive. It makes you wonder, like in China, what's it going to take for these people to revolt? What's it going to take to overthrow that government? I don't know. I don't have those answers, but I'm one of those fellows that's going to sit and watch because it's enormously entertaining to me.
Sure.
That's just the way it is, Dave.
All right, give me your last shot.
Well, my last shot is going to be happy birthday, JP. I'm glad you're with us. You're a good man. Dave, it's been my pleasure. I'll be talking with you.
It's always my pleasure, JJ.
Friday.
And next Friday could be well, yeah, I think next Friday is good. Yes, somewhere in here, I'm going to take a trip somewhere with my wife, and we're going to go somewhere and not be on. So,
and then that's when you're going to leave me with Bill and Don, right?
That's right, Bill and Don. That's right. Oh,
I got to try to referee that one.
That's Bill Hardwick and Don Mayhew.
That may be interesting.
Oh, that well, one's a lawyer, one's an engineer, and one's a. I think they both were in the Army. I'm not sure. I know Bill was. He was a platoon leader in Iraq.
You're leaving JP to try to referee these two. I feel bad for you, my friend.
Well, I mean, he's up to it. He can shoot a 3-pointer. I can't.
Yeah, I can't either.
With people watching. All right, my friend.
It has been my pleasure, Dave.
Let's hear it for John Jeffrey Bradshaw. Thank you. All right, we're back. Okay, what I'd like you to do is play, because we got the Rabbi coming on in a couple of minutes. Do a set of commercials, and by that time, he'll be on. How's that? Sounds good. All right.
Your home is your castle, you don't need unwanted hassle. Don't let those creatures move in to stay. Let us protect your investments, that's what we're all about. Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day. Plank is locally owned and family operated right here in Rolla, a Google preferred business. Our customer service and your satisfaction is our #1 goal. So call Plank today at 368-3333. Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day.
Honey, what are you doing?
What does it look like I'm doing?
It looks like you're filling up a swimming pool.
Yep, I'm filling up a swimming pool.
In our living room?
How else am I going to watch the game and stay cool?
If your AC is on the fritz, call Hartley's Climate Control. Hartley's is the area's best in HVAC repairs, installs, and maintenance. Knowledgeable, honest, and dependable. Serving Rolla and the surrounding areas for commercial or residential needs. Hartley's Climate Control. Community born, community raised, community serving.
Call Hartley's Climate Control today at 573-368-3163.
Never be too coy to tell your friends and family about koi sushi and hibachi. Celebrate the best Chinese-Japanese restaurant in the Midwest. Call 573-426-5551 to make a reservation or order takeout. Locally owned, 1808 North Bishop, Rolla, Missouri.
We can sum up McDonald's new crispy chicken sandwich in one word. Crispy. But also juicy and tender. Okay, it's crispy, juicy, tender. All one word. But then, also pickle. Oh, and potato bun, which is two words. Okay, we can't sum up our new crispy chicken sandwich in one word, so you'll just have to try it to understand it. Order ahead on the McDonald's app at participating McDonald's. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Merrell's Quarry and Asphalt, 40 years serving cities, counties, and everyday businesses with driveways for people who live and work in our little piece of heaven right smack dab in the middle of America. Call 573-578-9101 for your free estimate of rocking, rolling, paving, driveways, sealing, and striping too. That's 573-578-9101 for your free estimate.
Your home is your castle. You don't need unwanted hassle. Don't let those creatures move in to stay. Let us protect your investments. That's what we're all about. Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day.
Plank is locally owned and family operated right here in Rolla, a Google preferred business. Our customer service and your satisfaction is our number one goal. So call Plank today at 368-3333.
Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day.
At your locally owned Price Chopper, our standards are high because we know yours are. See for yourself what an incredible fresh selection of grocery items we have in store. Talk to our expert meat associates about what you're looking for. They're happy to meet any special requests like custom cuts, or see our expert produce associates on how to pick out the best fruits and vegetables. Quality in the deli means fresh, full flavor, and always delicious. If you're craving fresh baked goodness, we have that too. You can expect the best selection and the best value while interacting with our friendly and knowledgeable employees. You can find what you're looking for fast and easily at the best prices at Price Chopper. Fresh savings every day.
Gotta reach 'em, see it right now.
A-Car Real Estate, where experience matters. 532 million sold since 2003, the number one sales volume in Phelps County. As a client for decades, I can say they are the best in mid-Missouri. Call 573-368-7355. That's 573-368-7355 for the best real estate experience you'll ever have.
Gotta reach 'em, see it right now.
Insurance going up like crazy? Daniel and Henry Insurance is one of the largest private insurance companies in the world. Richard Boyette, 314-444-5011. He's my guy at Daniel and Henry for 10 years. Business or personal, call Richard at 314-444-5011. He's the best.
At Town & Country Bank, we've got all the perks of a national bank, like online banking, quick loan approval, and you can deposit your check from your phone. But that's not why our customers love us. They love us because we still offer hometown customer service. Stop by one of our 2 Rolla locations and let our friendly team remind you how special hometown banking can be. We're locally owned and will take the time to understand your needs. Smart, friendly solutions. Town & Country Bank. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
Okay, we're back. We're waiting on the rabbi, and while we're waiting on the rabbi, why don't we do a couple of clips? Okay? Do clip 2 and 3.
Jefferson is the most clear example of taking on the judiciary. In the Judicial Reform Act of 1802, the Jeffersonians eliminated 18 out of 35 federal judges. Didn't impeach them, just abolished their offices, told them to go home. Jackson, in tackling the Bank of the United States, which he said was a overly centralized form of power, think of it as the earlier Bernanke, was told, well, the Supreme Court has said that it's constitutional. He said, fine, that's their opinion. He said, I have a different opinion. I'm the president, they're a court. They get their opinion in court. I get my opinion in the White House. Lincoln spends a large section of his first inaugural address explaining why the Dred Scott decision may be the law of the case, but cannot be the law of the land. And Lincoln refuses to enforce the Dred Scott decision while he's president, period. So people who come in and say, oh, as Nancy Pelosi once said, if the court speaks, it's as though God has spoken. Now, be fair, having somebody from her branch of the party recognize God is an important step in the right direction. In the question of national security, in the last few years, the courts, I think, have become virtually out of touch with reality. The idea that the courts are now going to take on responsibility for defending the United States is a clear and fundamental violation of the Constitution and a fundamental violation of the executive branch's power. And the Congress should pass a law repudiating every interference of the courts in national security issues and returning them to the Congress and the president where they rightly belong. In 1942, a group of German saboteurs were landed in Florida and Long Island. They were all picked up within 2 weeks. Roosevelt brought in his attorney general and said, they will be tried in a military court. They will be executed. It should happen within 3 weeks. And tell the Supreme Court if they issue a writ of habeas corpus, I will not honor it, and therefore they should not issue it. I am the commander-in-chief in wartime. They aren't.
Did you ever try to tell somebody they have a little bit of dirt on their face? You can never get them to rub the right spot, can you? Say, you got a little bit of dirt right here. They always go, where, here? And you just want to slap the bastard.
Today marks my first State of the Union address to you, a constitutional duty as old as our republic itself. President Washington began this tradition in 1790 after reminding the nation that the destiny of self-government and the preservation of the sacred fire of liberty is finally staked on the experiment entrusted to the hands of the American people. For our friends in the press who place a high premium on accuracy, let me say, I did not actually hear George Washington say that.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're ready for the rabbi. This man has, you play a song first? No, we don't do that anymore, do we? Okay, see, my memories go back to the song we used to play. I wonder if I get nailed for that much of it. You know, man, alive. Oh, okay, never mind. Anyways, he's a wartime rabbi, second most powerful in Israel in his own home, according to his wife Yonit. Raises dollars for war widows and their children. Please welcome the official rabbi to the Dave Weinbaum Show for 16 years, Rabbi Moshe Rothschild. And we got your book up there. Tell them what your book is.
Yep, there it is. Secrets of the Hebrew Bible. You can grab a copy on the website, secretsofthehebrew.org. It's up there on your screen. And even if you can't read a word of Hebrew, don't even recognize a letter, this book is for you. It allows you to access in a very unique way the Hebrew text, even like I said, for someone who's not a Hebrew reader, and it gives you a whole new encounter with the Bible through the original language.
Yeah, and it's not anti anything. It's just trying to get the get the real meaning of the Bible in, so people don't misinterpret it, right?
Right, exactly. When you don't see something in the original, when you got to work through a translator, then there's the possibility of mistakes.
Now I know you've had. We're coming up to Pesach, which is Saturday night, correct?
That's right. First, the Seder Saturday night,
and you were saddened by the fact that all these widows are out there. Tell us about that. They're out there with their kids and their young women, and
yeah. So our project is called Widows of Warriors, helping widows since October 7th. We've lost 800 more than 800 soldiers. 380 of them were married. So we're helping about 150 widows. But I spent Wednesday the entire day from morning to evening going and visiting widows, bringing them gifts for Passover. It's an expensive holiday, and it was very difficult for me emotionally. We met all the widows that I met with were all in their 20s. They're all young.
Wow.
And you think of a widow, you think of someone who's like 80 years old, her husband passed away. You don't think of a 20-year-old. And they all had kids, little kids, and they're really struggling, and it's very, very difficult. They don't want people to forget, and they know that this is not a short-term problem. It's not like you need a little money for food, and then problem solved. This is long-term, and they're worried and they're scared, and I brought them a lot of hope, and we distributed a lot of money to help them for Passover, and it was quite a day.
And just so I don't forget it, where would they send this money to?
So they can go to our website. That's the easiest place, as you see it on the screen there, israellions.org, and we're going to be hopefully giving out more money over Passover. As it comes in, I give it out. I gave out more today. Even for the women who are going away for Passover to their parents or to their still, knowing that someone cares about them is it's priceless. That's the truth.
Well, and their parents are suffering. I mean, the widow's parents are suffering terribly also, aren't they?
One of the widows we met with on Wednesday, she brought along her father-in-law, meaning her husband who was killed, his father, and he was at the meeting. And, that was really, to see his pain and his suffering. It's not just the widows. There's a lot of pain. And of course, siblings of the person who was killed. It just there's a lot of trauma, that goes
Meanwhile,
beyond.
you got a son in the IDF who won't be there for Passover.
That's right,
and that's not helping your own.
No, it's very difficult. He's 20 years old. For 20 years, every year on Passover, it's a big family holiday, and now he's not going to be here for the first time in 20 years. Luckily, I was able to speak to him today. He just called, an hour or two ago. He's in Rafa actually now, and there's been a lot of activity there, which he was involved in. He has some matzah. He has, you can't really have much of a Seder when you're sitting in a tank. But he said to me, can you record a short thought, a short inspirational idea that I can say in my tank to the other soldiers? So he says, make it short because I can't memorize that much. So, I record me. Yeah. So, they'll do the best they can, and, and I'm sure, please God, it'll just be, a memory, and then next year we'll all be together again. So,
and my wife wants to ask you a question.
No, I was going to say thank you for the matzah you sent to the house.
There it is. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem.
I can't tell, are they square or are they round?
They're the round ones.
Okay, but it's in a square box, so I'm confused.
Yeah. You know what they call someone who loves matzah? He's a matzahist.
He's a what?
Matzahist.
A masochist. Oh, okay. I thought something happened to I thought somebody blanked it out there for a minute.
Yeah.
Boy, did he just swear on my show? How dare he?
No.
Okay, all right. Well, let's talk about some business now. Bibi at the White House goes all in on zero tariffs. What's your comments on that?
Yeah, Israel was a little bit surprised because we dropped all the tariffs. There was zero tariffs, and the U.S. announced they were putting a 17% tariff on goods from Israel. So, the 10% wouldn't have been surprising because that was like across the board.
Right.
The fact it was at 17% was surprising. So I know that now there's a 90-day a pause on.
There'll be some talking.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
Yeah,
I mean, Israel's got to be a little grateful for having Trump in there instead of that idiot.
Yeah, yeah. Grateful is, I guess, that's a little bit of an understatement.
Yeah, if Donald Trump ran for president of Israel, I'm not so sure he wouldn't make it.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's really incredible because you remember it wasn't that long ago that Biden was there, and in such a short period of time, how everything just like flipped. Even with the tariffs at 17%, no one is saying, "Oh, that Trump." He's got to do. He's got to do. But at the end of the day, Israel feels like Trump's a friend. He's
Sure.
he's a real friend of Israel. And
did you really think that Biden was a friend?
No.
Did you really feel that Biden was actually running the show?
Look, I think it became undeniable that there's no way he could be running the country in his mental condition. Biden.
Who do you think it was?
Maybe Obama. Maybe his wife.
No, that's what Obama and his former aides.
Yeah,
who were in that administration.
Yeah,
and I think they're finding that out more and more that Biden had so little to do with running the country. It's hard to know that he even knew he was president half the time.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
He still thought he was senator.
4 years of weirdness and failure, and that's a signature and hatred within. Hatred from many American people towards America. That's Obama.
Yeah.
Look,
I think, I know we're meant to be talking about Israel, but I think the Democratic Party is just they seem to be just doubling down. They're not making any changes. They're so out of step and so out of touch with the American people. And you would think they would have licked their wounds and said, "Hey, we got to make some changes," but they're just doubling down. And
they're backing down. They're backing up the 10% of what people think are good for America against the 90% that love what Trump's doing. It's not exactly a roadway to victory,
right?
I don't think. And they keep doing it. They keep digging it deeper. And now they're talking about, again, killing Musk and Trump. And some of them are saying it in not too snide ways on the congressional floors. Okay.
Look,
things are going to happen here, too. Because you know why? Because they know they are caught. They know it. They know they have all the information on what they've done, all the money they stole,
right?
And now they know we got nothing to lose.
Yep. And Tesla
already lost.
Tesla's one of the only cars made in the United States.
Yeah. These days, isn't that a contradiction there?
Yeah.
So all right. Well, Trump is to have he says he's kind of having nuclear talks with Iran. Is there a part in Israel for that?
Yeah, well, I think Trump had said that if Iran does not come to the table and a solution is not reached, and then the military option is on the table, it will be Israel leading the military option. That's what Trump actually said, with support of the United States, but it will be Israel who will get the green light from the U.S. to do whatever it needs to do. So we'll see. But Trump sent some B-2 bombers here. I think almost half the fleet that the United States has, or a 6 out of 18 or something like that. They sent 6 B-2 bombers here, and that's
well, who exactly sent the boats? Wasn't that Biden originally?
Yeah, but pulled them back. The
but he also got bombed a lot by the Houthis.
Yeah, without
there, and Trump came and nailed him.
Yeah,
he didn't retaliate against the Houthis. They were shooting at American ships, and they got away with it.
The Houthis were firing ballistic missiles here, and we haven't had one for a couple weeks because I think the United States destroyed their capabilities and their stockpiles.
That's what it seems like.
It's quiet here. Thank God for 2 weeks they haven't fired at us. So, yeah.
Oh, now you've got the United States Army on this because they have a right to go in and nail somebody who shot at their ships. I'm not sure they didn't have some casualties too because of that.
It's the only language that the Houthis are going to understand. They're not going to negotiate. They're only going to understand force.
Okay,
and, that's it. In this region, weakness doesn't get you anywhere.
They're kind of limited to what they can get out of Iran, and Iran is kind of limited these days too, aren't they?
Yeah.
They
are. They're more and more isolated, and so we're things seem to be moving in a good direction, but we'll see what happens with this negotiation.
So IDF, Mossad, Shin Bet, not invited to the security cabinet discussion. The heads of this, what's going on over there? That's your whole intel forces.
Yeah, well,
they're not supposed to discuss things with everyone else in the government. So there's something going on there. Obviously, you tell us what it is, please.
Well, the head of the Shin Bet was fired by Netanyahu, but then the courts propped him up and said, you can fire him. Which is, Ronen Bar, who's the head of the Shin Bet.
Wait, let me stop you there because I want to know why in our country you don't let the courts do that. All right, allegedly.
Yeah, we don't want activist judges and activist courts.
Exactly.
And,
you got that.
Yeah. It goes through phases in the United States. Depends on if it's a left-leaning court or a right-leaning court. It's gone through different phases. But the reality is that when judges are activists, they're trying to control the country, and they're not elected.
Exactly.
They're put in place. And the country voted for certain people. That's who's running the country, not the people.
We're having the same discussion here in America.
Yeah, exactly. We voted for these guys. Let them run the country.
Exactly.
Someone who's appointed, and and at least in the States, it's a little bit better because the appointments come from the elected parties. Here in Israel, the appointment of judges was coming from other judges. It wasn't necessarily coming from the government.
Sure.
So it's slightly better in the U.S., but activist judges, they feel like they have.
And right now they're in retreat somewhat because the Supreme Court barely voted against them 5-4. I mean, that's incredible. All the women in the Supreme Court, I hate to point this out, all the women voted against Trump and the executive branch, 4 of them, and 5 of them, all men, voted for the right of the branch that Trump is in, the presidential branch, to execute a war and execute criminals that are attacking us.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, Egypt and Indonesia have offered to harbor Palestinians. Anyone else?
There are other names being floated, but I don't know who they are yet. But
Why are they doing that? They hate them.
Well, I'm sure there's a lot of goodwill and money involved.
Money, yeah.
A
lot of money.
You have poor countries, and they're willing to take them in for aid from the United States. Israel would also pay.
Right.
Like it's the only solution to get the Gazans out of Gaza. Bottom line.
So we're talking about you guys pretty much taking over Gaza, like it should have been in the first place. The experiment didn't work. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Well, right. So right now we need a new paradigm. I think the one Donald Trump suggested is a good one. Talking to my son, we're now dividing Gaza into regions, and he's involved in building this road to divide the Gaza into its parts, and that's what we need to do: is to divide and conquer. So,
Patricia Odin Maxwell, the official pastor to the Dave Weinbaum Show. Hi, Rabbi Moshe. Looking forward to having you at City of Light and Life on May 18th at 3 p.m.
Yep, okay. I'll be there.
All right. Hopefully, I'll be there too.
And my 13-year-old son Ari, he's going to be with me.
Oh, that's terrific. That's terrific. Okay. So, I see this now. Nearly 60 billion, seized from Egyptian Jews. This is like their payback for the Passover. Did you know about that?
Yeah. They because the Bible says that we took money from the Egyptians when we left, so they want the money back.
When we left in what year? 1300?
Talking about 3,500 years ago. Yeah. But the response is very simple. We worked for 400 years as slaves without being paid.
Yeah, where was our pay in overtime?
Exactly.
Some bitches. Where are all the vacations? Where are all the vacations we could have had? How much is that worth?
And we didn't get our health care, and
no.
Yeah,
we didn't even.
Exactly.
We didn't even get our circumcisions paid for.
No.
What the hell is that? All right. Anyways, so other than Dave Weinbaum Show, where can people buy your book and contribute?
The book, they can go to secretsofthehebrewbible.org, and they can pick up a copy there. And if you want to go to our website, israelalliance.org, we'd love to hear from you. You can contribute and help the widows. The money goes straight to them.
Rabbi, did you hear about the criminal cartoonist?
He drew a mugshot?
No. He was arrested for being too animated. He's writing it down. He's going to have, and I'm stealing it from me. I can tell.
Well,
you can play it back. You don't have to write it down right now.
Yeah, I mean, you heard about the two blind guys sitting on the bench on Passover, and he hands him a matzah to the blind guy, and he starts touching it. He goes, "Who wrote this crap?"
Hey, you're not supposed to laugh louder for him than me. Oh my God! Okay, it's your birthday. I'll let this one go. I gotta give him credit. I gotta have a little control here. This is not good. All right, Rabbi. Thank you so much. Happy. Hi to your family.
Eat it Saturday night.
What's that?
Eat the matzah Saturday night. Don't eat it tonight.
No, I looked. I was tempted.
Yeah.
We haven't even opened it, right? Have we? No. Have you opened it? No. It has not opened. We're going to celebrate. We're going to celebrate. My Christian daughter and my Jewish son. We're going to host this on Saturday.
All right.
So we're going to do the whole program.
Hopefully, it came in one piece and not broken into too many pieces.
Well, we're not going to check. It looks like it's solid. Looks like it's solid. All right.
Okay, good.
And we're looking forward to the matzah.
All right.
Shabbat shalom.
Everyone, thank you. Shabbat shalom.
Bye. Bye. All right. So, all right. 10 o'clock. No, it's 9 o'clock. Yeah. Right. Yeah. We never changed the phone. How come we're sitting here and for years now, it's really 9:04, 9:05, and here it is. I'm looking at 10:04. You know,
it's been on my to-do list for a year now.
Yes, I know. Okay, we'll give you this. We'll go through this day, but the next week it ought to be at the right time, and I'll be confused.
Yep.
No, don't do it right now. Okay,
be
do it now.
confused.
I don't care. I don't care. All right, I'm gonna back to my study here of what's happening in the world today. If you want to call the show, 573-578-2700, or
you can also reach out to us on Facebook, X, YouTube, and Rumble. Sorry, we're so many places now. I got to keep track of everything. And also, once the show is over today, anywhere that you can find podcasts, we're talking iHeartRadio, Spotify. Now these new ones that are going international and making our results just blow up. You can find us anywhere after the show where you can find podcasts.
It's incredible. And my friends on X or Twitter, I mean, they've been great. I mean, these people are too great to understand. I can't thank them enough for putting me out there time after time. And then they'll also put pictures in of the show and things like that. And they'll redo the show on X like my wife does. And I push this thing all week long, and I want a lot of people to see it. And all of a sudden we had about 5 or 6 more countries than we had on the podcasts, JP. Yeah. All right. So DC in direct talks with Iran. DC is, there's a call.
Okay, there you go.
Hi there. Welcome to Dave Weinbaum Show. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yes, this is Pastor Pat.
Oh, hi, Pastor Pat. How are you doing?
Oh, doing good. How are you doing?
I'm doing good.
I know how you're doing. I've been watching your show.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate it. This is the official pastor to the Dave Weinbaum Show.
Yes, I wanted to tell my son happy birthday. He's an awesome, awesome man. And I wanted to tell him happy birthday. I'm so pleased that the Lord, I was able to give birth to him. And then also, I wanted to say that we're going to have a great time today. We're going to the ball game in St. Louis.
Well, that's going to be great. Terrific. And I'll try, he might be going out for the Cardinals because he did have a 3-pointer in a basketball game last night. Of course, he was playing.
And I have a video of that.
Yeah, we played it on the show. Do you believe that?
I don't think that was. Yeah.
So you got probably got a better view of it than he had, but
I think I do. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we didn't see him knock down that. We didn't see him knock down that girl on the way in. Because that was he took
Thank
that
God
out.
That was off camera.
Yeah, we took that off the camera. So because we are, we do like the dictate number 9 or whatever that is. Title 9. Yeah, we do like that. I mean, I even got some honey from Riley Gaines. She sent me a whole thing of honey for that. All right. So you take care, Pastor Pat. Thanks for calling, and thanks for all you do for the show.
Okay, love you guys.
All right. Love you too.
Thanks, Mom.
Bye-bye.
Great show, Dave.
Thanks. Bye-bye. Well, we might as well play a couple clips here. We got 9:30 coming in. We got Chris Adamo, and he's always really good. You don't have to. Some people you don't have to worry about. JJ, Chris Adamo. They almost make their own interviews, and I love the fact that these people are inclined to coagulate with each other. Now, the biggest thing I got coming today, and this is possibly the most huge thing I've ever had in this show. That's from day one, almost 17 years ago, and that is Jeff Zink. We think today is going to be the day that he announces that he is either going to be the chief of staff for RFK Jr., or he's going to be the assistant secretary of HHS. Either way, it's going to be a big deal. And we're going to come back and we're going to play the Star Spangled Banners, the anthem, and we're going to sing it. And it's not a show that we're going to get charged for, right?
Yeah, it's not copyrighted, so they can't touch us on that one, thankfully. But just real quick, you mentioned how everybody on the show talked to each other.
Yeah.
But there's one central point, and that's Dave Weinbaum. We actually have something about that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay, sure. Go ahead, play it.
I like the fact that State Secret showed up on Anthony Weiner's laptop right between his porno pictures.
Oh, great. Here's something, Chris Adamo. Black on black crime is ignored if the victim is a conservative. Yeah. Okay, you got that. He's coming on next.
Yeah.
We
ran into him down at the
I heard
patriotism conference last week.
I heard. You know what's interesting about this, and we were talking about this with JJ Bradshaw, who's on the show, and he's talking about Elon Hakeem, and you're talking about Adamo, and I'm thinking, all these people that come on my show for the last 14, 15 years, they all seem to talk to each other.
Well, that's because you're the center of the universe.
Damn conspiracy is what it is. You're trying to get rid of me.
No, you're just the center of the universe. We're all bound by gravity to rotate around you.
Oh God, I'm gonna save that one. I'll put that in the clip.
That won't be the last time you hear that on this show. I can promise.
Especially my wife. She'll laugh. You're a what? Yeah. Yeah, and I asked him on the show. He is now the lawyer for a lot of the 1-6ers. He's busier than hell.
So Mark was my attorney for injury settlement that I had from a car accident about a year and a half ago, and we were sitting doing finally getting to mediation, trying to get to a resolution of this, probably back about a month and a half ago. And in between everything, I mean, Mark's phone is blowing up, and he's, hold on a second, I got to take this. And it's all these J6ers and just coming out of the woodwork. So I think it's going to be interesting to see what the results are of these cases, because he's got a lot that he's trying to represent, including Ryan Zink.
Yeah, right.
So
right, he's doing. That's Jeff Zink's son. In case you haven't listened to the show for very long, who is going big time now, and you're going to see. I mean, this guy gets in. You're going to see. Him, he's going to be the one interviewed by the Senate or the House, and he's going to have to answer the questions to them. He was going to be one of them and got 2 straight elections stolen in Arizona. He can say that because he understands election fraud, because he's an expert in these election audits, the forensic audits of these, and he's done many of them himself, all through the swing states, Wisconsin and Georgia and Pennsylvania. He knows what's going on. He knows we were cheated. They tried to cheat us last time too with Trump. He probably had a couple million more. I say he probably had about 80 million. If all the truly courts had the control and the right voting laws, and didn't take advantage of dead people and things like that, that's a big ploy in it. All right, so let's see. Let's play. Do we get through all? Let's play 5 and 6, and that'll be the end of Newt.
Congress has the power to limit the appeals, as I mentioned earlier. Congress can cut budgets. Congress can say, all right, in the future, the Ninth Circuit can meet, but it will have no clerks. By the way, we aren't going to pay the electric bill for 2 years. And since you seem to be rendering justice in the dark, you don't seem to need your law library either. This is, by the way, I am paraphrasing Hamilton in the Federalist Papers, in which he is defending, he says flatly, the judiciary is the weakest of the 3 branches. I mean, this modern model is just totally opposite the American tradition.
I want to talk today about this suddenly this sudden phenomenon of now they tell us. I don't know if you've noticed, everyone, the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, they all knew about Joe Biden's dementia. Suddenly we're given all of these revealing quotes that he was completely physically and mentally unfit to carry out the oath of office. But we all knew that. People had been writing about it. And yet when you wrote about it, you were called a cheap faker. You were ageist, and now they're just telling us, no, it was all a cover-up. It was all a conspiracy. You were right all along, you people. He was demented and challenged. Francis Collins at the National Institute of Health, he's now coming out, and he has for a long time, but especially recently, and saying, maybe that lockdown wasn't such a good idea. That was the lockdown that destroyed almost the middle class.
You attach infinite value to stopping the disease and saving a life. You attach a zero value to whether this actually totally disrupts people's lives, ruins the economy, and has many kids kept out of school in a way that they never quite recover
Collateral
from.
damage.
So collateral damage.
It led to missed cancer screenings, spousal abuse, alcohol abuse, drug abuse, suicides, all because we shut down in an unprecedented fashion our entire society, not just the economy, but the culture, the social life, the political life. And now we're told by the architects of that failed policy that we're kind of sorry.
Okay, we're going to have more of Victor Davis Hanson shortly. I want to talk to you a little bit about some odd things happening. Has anyone ever heard of the dire wolf?
Have now.
We have now. Okay, with the dire wolf, they say it was extinct between 10 and 13,000 years. They found a bunch of bones, and they were able to capture enough DNA from these old, 15,000-year-old bones, and combine them with some kind of DNA that would allow current wolves, gray wolves, to have these white dire wolves that when they grow up, they're like they weigh about 180 pounds. They're huge, and they used to hunt. They would hunt these extinct animals that were huge. What was the name of the big cat, the saber-toothed cat? They used to jump on those guys and eat them like they were nothing. And so it raises the question: are we gonna be in another situation of an actual Jurassic Park, where they're gonna bring back dinosaurs and things like that? Wow, it's fun. It's an extraordinary thing when suddenly you see the things that I'm seeing, that space aliens and or extinct animals are suddenly brought to life in our lifetime. Is that really weird, or what? Or is it just me? Huh?
I don't think they should be dabbling with nature like that. I mean, what's going to happen to these things now? They've been created to enhance this. What, Game of Thrones? Is that what it's for? Yeah,
I don't know.
The guy who writes that is the one in charge of breeding this animal to.
So nobody's gonna stop it, though.
Somebody should.
Who's somebody? Donald Trump? Stop those extinct animals from coming back to life.
They're looking into the bioethical implications.
Bioethical?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't know there was such a thing.
Yes.
Bioethical?
Yeah.
What if somebody says, well, bioethically, I think we ought to get rid of that religion or this religion, or people that believe this and people that believe that? Crickets. I wanted crickets.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's so much stuff that you have to consider that you could use to eliminate a species, a religion of people. You can do all that. So I think you got to be real careful with it, and I don't see anything stopping them. And I don't know if they're going to use it for good or bad. Nobody does. Or if it's going to be using it for good and it becomes on its own a very hard thing to control.
It's going to be used for commercial success that we know of.
Well, it sure created a lot more movies.
And that's the concern. I mean, that's why if you even look at something as simple as AI.
Yeah. AI could do that too.
It's being used for good, but what if it starts being used for evil? What's the potential there?
The potential is amazing for that. Okay.
Yep. And scary on the bad side. So
very scary.
Yep.
Okay, let's do another couple clips. We're almost done with the clips, aren't we?
Pretty close.
Yeah. And then we'll do a commercial. What do we got? 8, 9?
Yep.
Ooh, that's good. Good work.
There's Joe Biden himself. He's now openly saying that he doesn't like what Merrick Garland did vis-a-vis Donald Trump. But he doesn't mean that I'm shocked that I weaponized the Department of Justice. What he's saying is that he wished that Merrick Garland had gone after Trump more vigorously and earlier. In other words, that lawfare wasn't enough. Well, why didn't he say that 6 months ago? Why didn't he say that right during the campaign? But he didn't. Then we have this reporter, maybe some of you remember him, probably not, David Ehrlich from the New York Times. He co-authored a number of hit pieces on Brett Kavanaugh way back during the Kavanaugh hearings. Now he's coming out in a letter to Mark Judge, who was one of the targets of his hit pieces. I kind of feel bad, sort of. Maybe we went a little bit overboard. Maybe we shouldn't have dug up things that may or may not have been true about Judge Kavanaugh when he was 17, 18. Maybe that was a bit much. And then we're getting a whole nother group of what we call it, data dumps about the FBI and January 6th. So not long ago, we were told, well, yes, there was informants, but actual agents, maybe very few, just informants. And some of them probably wanted to go there anyway, but yes, there were informants. Remember Matthew Rosenberg for the New York Times had told us that, the Pulitzer Prize winning journalist who had covered January 6th. And he said it was all kind of cooked up.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. This is kind of embarrassing, but there's no toilet paper over here. Are you talking to me? Yeah, I just forgot to check. So if you could spare some. No, I'm sorry. What? No, I'm sorry, I can't spare it. You can't spare it? No, there's not enough to spare. Well, I don't need much. Just 3 squares will do it. I'm sorry, I don't have 3 squares. Now, if you don't mind. 3 squares? You can't spare 3 squares? No, I don't have a square to spare. I can't spare a square. Well, is it 2 ply? Because if it's 2 ply, I'll take 1 ply. 1 ply. 1 puny little ply. I'll take 1 measly ply. Look, I don't have a square and I don't have a ply. No, don't pull. I beg you.
Your home is your castle. You don't need unwanted hassle. Don't let those creatures move into space. Let us protect your investments. That's what we're all about. Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day.
Plank is locally owned and family operated right here in Rolla, a Google preferred business. Our customer service and your satisfaction is our #1 goal. So call Plank today at 368-3333.
Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day.
With warmer temperatures right around the corner and allergies ramping up, now's the time to get those AC units serviced. At Hartley's, we pride ourselves in offering outstanding service with fast response times. With proper maintenance, you can make those hot days be a lot cooler and remove those pesky allergens that always seem to find their way into your home. Call us today so you can be living a much cooler and healthier life. Hartley's, community born, community raised, community serving.
Call Hartley's Climate Control today at 573-368-3163.
Never be too coy to tell your friends and family about koi sushi and hibachi. Celebrate the best Chinese-Japanese restaurant in the Midwest. Call 573-426-5551 to make a reservation or order takeout. Locally owned, 1808 North Bishop, Rolla, Missouri.
We can sum up McDonald's new crispy chicken sandwich in one word. Crispy. But also juicy and tender. Okay, it's crispy, juicy, tender. All one word? But then, also pickle. Oh, and potato bun, which is two words. Okay, we can't sum up our new crispy chicken sandwich in one word, so you'll just have to try it to understand it. Order ahead on the McDonald's app at participating McDonald's. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Merrell's Quarry and Asphalt, 40 years serving cities, counties, and everyday businesses with driveways for people who live and work in our little piece of heaven right smack dab in the middle of America. Call 573-578-9101 for your free estimate of rocking, rolling, paving, driveways, sealing, and striping too. That's 573-578-9101 for your free estimate.
Your home is your castle, you don't need unwanted hassle. Don't let those creatures move in to stay. Let us protect your investments, that's what we're all about. Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day.
Plank is locally owned and family operated right here in Rolla, a Google preferred business. Our customer service and your satisfaction is our number one goal. So call Plank today at 368-3333.
Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day.
Busy schedule? Let your locally owned Price Chopper help you save time with online shopping. It's easy. Sign up to tcmarkets.com or download our mobile app in the App Store or Google Play. Create an account and browse through the categories and choose the items you need. When you place your order, your personal shopper will get all of the items you've selected, taking the same care you would and following your notes. We offer free curbside pickup, so you don't even have to get out of your car. Start your online order today and no online shopping fee for a limited time. Go to tcmarkets.com or download our mobile app to get started. Price Chopper. Fresher savings every day. A-Car Real Estate, where experience matters. 532 million sold since 2003, the number one sales volume in Phelps County. As a client for decades, I can say they are the best in mid-Missouri. Call 573-368-7355. That's 573-368-7355 for the best real estate experience you'll ever have.
Gotta reach 'em, see it right now.
Insurance going up like crazy? Daniel and Henry Insurance is one of the largest private insurance companies in the world. Richard Boyette, 314-444-5011. He's my guy at Daniel and Henry for 10 years. Business or personal, call Richard at 314-444-5011. He's the best.
Maybe it's for a kitchen you've always wanted. Maybe it's just to have a little extra room. Whatever the reason you're considering a new home loan, it's good to know that Town & Country Bank will guide you in the right direction. Our experienced local lenders are here to help you with a new home construction, remodeling projects, and fixed and adjustable rate home loans. You can even start the process online by clicking Online Mortgage Center at tcbanks.com. Smart, friendly solutions. Town & Country Bank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we have our next guest. He is raring to go, I can tell. He's early. He's like 5 minutes early there, and I was playing commercials, and I'm sure I pissed him off somehow. He's an expert on Marxism. He's the author of Rules for Defeating Radicals. He's an influencer in Wyoming, where he was once in the Federal Witness Protection Program. Please welcome all the way from Missouri, Chris Adamo. Good morning, Chris. How are you? You're not. You're. I can't hear you.
How about now?
There you go. Yes, good.
Okay, sorry, I must have
5 minutes.
The mute button by accident.
The nude button?
The mute button.
Oh, mute button. I thought you
Don't
said
start rumors.
The nude button. Golly, I don't want to see it. No, stop. No, it's not that. No. God, he's actually trying to take us. No, this is not good. This is not a good start to an interview, sir. All right. So remember the Social Security agent, not Social Security, but special, whatever it is, DJ Daniel and his father at the Trump State of the Union. Musk just gave them a new Tesla Cybertruck.
Oh yes, I did. Yeah. I do remember that. Yeah, and
Secret Service. That's what I was looking for.
Yeah, that they the young boy has cancer, and of course, in their typical compassionate, loving, understanding way, the leftists just attacked him, just despicably. But yeah, they've been given a new Cybertruck. It was they saw the picture. It was just great. We've seen enough of this kind of stuff from Elon Musk. I mean, the guy is the richest man in the world, and he's hit that point where he can spend a few billion here and there on whatever he wants. And what he's trying to do is he's trying to do good for people.
Yes.
I don't always agree with everything specifically he's doing. We don't have to get into that. But the point is that here's somebody that's motivated by trying to do what's right. That puts him in a particular category of human being. We're seeing other people, the leftists, and we're really seeing just a cataclysmic collision between the two, because the leftists, they want to amass power. They want to get that power and money, and they want to get it by any means possible. And they don't care who they hurt in the process, including this poor young boy and everyone else. If they'll treat him that way, there's this cancer victim. If they'll treat him that way, what do you think they're going to do to everybody else?
Well, it's so incredibly stupid. I mean,
it's evil.
It's evil.
Yeah.
And they're politicians. They should know what people like and tell them and back things that people like. They're backing everything that is evil and nothing that is good.
Well, here's the reason for that, Dave, and this is crucial. We need to understand this. This is what they've been doing for decades, okay? They're the party of compassion, of tolerance, of open-mindedness, blah, blah, blah. That is all platitudes in order to get people to fall for them, to empower them. Well, they were able to empower themselves for a long time because we didn't have enough of a voice. To be totally honest, we didn't have enough Dave Weinbaums out there calling them out on this, and so they could tell these lies and get away with it. And that has changed.
Yeah.
Okay, now my topic, my number one topic I wanted to discuss, and it fits right in with this, is, and we can talk about this, applies to all the major news events of the week as we've seen it, is America's future. Will it be a future of fear or a future of hope? Okay, and we can take this to every single issue we're dealing with, starting with the big one. The big elephant in the room right now is the stock market. Okay, and you're seeing two things happening with the stock market. You're seeing the leftists get out and get to the nearest microphone and scream about how the end of the world's coming, stocks go down. Then you see President Trump get out there and say, look, I've got a plan. This is going to work out good for everybody. Hang in there. As a matter of fact, this is time to buy stock because it's going to go up, and it goes up. Okay, now, what do the leftists do with that? Oh, this is insider trading. He told everybody yeah. Okay, and this is how they do everything. Okay, this is how
they do it in such unison. It's not just one guy yelling this. Every one of them is yelling this almost at the same time.
It's a canned talking point. They distribute a talking point. Everybody jumps on it, and everybody gets out there acting like, "Look at me! I'm the one with the wisdom who perceived this." And they all sound like a bunch of parakeets. I'll give you another. What's that?
I said that. Yeah, they do that. And go ahead.
But give you another issue they've done this on. And again, you can come up with any idiotic talking point the DNC throws out there, and they all grab onto it and run with it like this is just the truth, the profound truth that we all need to live and die by. The other one that I wanted to mention was this thing about the Congress is securing the vote to make sure that we don't have a bunch of phony IDs and stuff, people going into the voting booth. What's the talking point on that? Well, women who have gotten married change their names, so they're obviously going to be prevented from voting. Okay, it's a bald-faced, stupid lie. It's meant for really the dumbest amongst us to try and manipulate them. It's proof that the Democrats have total contempt for their own minions, because this is the kind of pablum and nonsense with which they throw these things out there to scare their own people. Okay, and what are they doing? What you said a minute ago. They all get out there like a bunch of parakeets, and they all recite the same lie. Hillary Clinton's saying it, Swalwell's saying it. They're all saying it as if, look what I've discovered. See how insightful I am. And they're a bunch of minions. They're a bunch of just little parakeets.
Who believes them anymore? They got to know that nobody believes them. They see the same polls that we see, and they're buried in and going down. And they keep
why do you think they're protecting their vote fraud so thoroughly? Because they need to have just enough people believing them so that they don't have that huge of a margin they have to try and cheat their way past. And no, you're right. It's not working. But in the meantime, the other prong of the attack is to stoke the fear. China's going to dominate us. And you look at the fact that the Democrats and China are essentially singing the same song. What does that tell you about the Democrat Party if they're singing the same song as the communist Chinese on this whole trade situation?
Well, they identify themselves pretty much as communists these days, or Marxists, or socialists. So you sort of expect them to do it.
Now, here's the key. Now, I want to remind everybody of this book by General Flynn, The Citizen's Guide to Fifth Generation Warfare. And he talks about the psychological, the psyops, the psychological manipulations in which they engage. And by the way, he also happens to reference another really great book as How Do We Deal with This? That's that one right there.
You can say your own title. Go ahead.
Okay, it's Rules for Defeating Radicals. It's available on Amazon. You need to
get it. Who the hell wrote that?
Yeah, who wrote that? Yeah. Okay. Anyway.
Well, tell them that it was me.
Oh, you want me to tell them? Yeah, that's my book. Okay. All right. Here.
My God, I'm trying to.
Here's my book, Rules for Defeating Radicals.
It's good, and you ought to read it.
And the point here is that these games, these fear-mongering games that they're playing, and I mean, they have been on overdrive this week because the stock market took a hit. Well, it's the end of the world. No, it's not. It's a downturn and an upswing. Okay. These kinds of things happen. The stock market bounces around when people get scared, and then it goes up. Okay. But if they can convince you to be fearful, if they can convince you that you were safe before under Biden, Obama, and if they can convince you that we can't fight this international trade situation, we just have to acquiesce to it, then they can get you to back down and do their bidding. Then they've got you right where they want you. We're struggling along like we were back in 2016, where Obama said, we're not going to get our manufacturing back. And we go through this, and, well, you know what you need to do at that point to survive? You need to go up to the Democrats and hold your hand out and say, please give me something, because I just won't survive otherwise. Now they got you right where they want you. And this is what they're trying so hard to get you back to.
They're not, nobody's agreeing with them. Even the mainstream media, as much as they try, don't really have their heart in it, because they know what the truth is. And America's seen it, and they don't believe it anymore.
You're starting to see a crack in their facade. The point is, with an information, a propaganda blitz like that, you have to have an information monopoly. If all the news networks out there are giving you the same talking points, but like we used to have CBS, NBC, ABC, and that's the only news you got, they could get away with it.
Yeah.
Now we've got all these alternative medias. We've got One American News, Newsmax. We've got Dave Weinbaum. We've got all these people out there who are saying no to the Goliath. And suddenly, it's like you're lighting up this one little match in a dark room, and everybody can see the light. Okay, so it's not working. What do? They've got to try to double down. We got to be twice as dark. We got to be twice as scary. And it works briefly. This whole market so-called crash this week, which is their term for it, it wasn't a crash. It was a downturn followed by a huge upturn. And as the fear abates, as the lies prove to be, they're not bearing out. We're seeing the rest of the world coming along and saying, we're going to support the U.S. We're going to play fair. It's going to rebound because people don't have to believe those lies. They get the truth elsewhere. And what we've got to do is just hold fast.
Yeah. And the ones who are in it, like me, I'm saying, is that they, I've been around for a while, and 35 years ago, I started investing and went through that horrible thing that happened in 1987. And I said to myself, I says, you've seen this market. It's got a history, and it's old, and it's been around. It's been through the Depression and recessions and all that. I says, but afterwards, it seems to come back.
It goes
fairly
up
quickly,
it
and it
goes
goes
up.
up. And I've made a lot of money doing this.
Right.
All right. And I'm still doing it because I'm trying to catch a few lows here and there, and I suspect these things are going to come back really good.
And for those of us who don't. For those of us who don't have the, let's say, the acumen on the actual markets, trends and stuff on the short-term basis to do like you're doing, the simple thing to do is to not get scared when it goes down, it goes back up. So if I just sit tight, which is what I've been doing, just sit tight. Yeah, it went down. Yeah, it's coming back up. I'm doing great. Okay.
I'm having fun watching it, actually.
The big picture is
I go down sometimes, I laugh at it.
And that's how to do it. The big picture is not what the market does day to day. The big picture is what's happening to the American economy. Because here's the thing. If the American economy is improving and Trump is working very hard, he's going to accomplish it. If the economy is improving, the market, I don't care what calamities they try to proclaim, whatever, the market will follow. It's just that simple. It's inevitable. This reminds me of you remember how OPEC, they were going to manipulate the world's oil prices. Okay. But there's this thing that happens. It's like if anybody actually has the latitude to make their own decisions, it doesn't work the way OPEC wanted it to, because by golly, they were going to get out there and they're going to cut oil and the price per barrel is going to go way up. And then there's one country amongst all of them that says, hey, you know what? The price is up. If I increase my production,
exactly,
then I can capitalize on all those increased prices. And pretty soon the whole effort that they had to manipulate the market falls apart because people are out there taking advantage of the opportunity to sell oil. Okay.
And what does Biden do? He just knocks out the biggest oil producer in the world, us. And what happens? Our gas skyrockets.
Right.
Okay.
And we paid for it. We paid. So during the last 4 years, what did we have? We had excessive gas prices. You go out to California. Have you seen the gas prices in California? Last time I was out there, it was $6-7 a gallon. Yeah. It's insane. Yeah. It's being manipulated because of leftist lunacy.
So high.
But if they can convince you, the leftists, that you're being virtuous, you're saving the planet by paying through the nose to a gas station. Figure that out. Okay. Figure that cause and effect out. If I pay through the nose to this gas station, I'm saving the planet. That's the rationale on which they do that.
But you have the biggest guy in history of EV cars, and he's a hero of the left until what? Until he goes for Trump. And yet he was their answer. He was their savior, so to speak. He saved the Democratic Party just by being there.
Yeah.
Okay. And finally realized that he was in the wrong company.
Yeah.
And now they want to kill him. Okay.
And they're blatant about that. Elon Musk has this innate desire to be intellectually honest.
Yeah,
it's just I will say it this simply: you cannot get something as massively complex as getting a rocket into space if you're ideologically driven above and beyond being intellectually honest. Can we do that? Will the physics let us do that? That's inherently how he operates. And so, yeah, he thought the Democrats, and he says so, he thought they were the good guys, the compassionate ones. No, they were a bunch of liars, and you fell for it, Elon, but you've awakened to it now. Now that the fact that he awakened to it, the fact that he's saying, let's do what's right for the country, at that point, he becomes their enemy. Why do they hate him now? Literally trillions of dollars that they've been getting from your pocket and mine. He's pointing it out. That's going to stop. That's why they hate him.
Well, it's not only that. They're culpable.
Well,
they're
yeah,
scared
exactly.
to death. They are scared to death, and I don't know what they're planning on doing. But those guys have pretty good protection, him and Trump.
It's evil, and they're stepping it up.
Yeah.
That picture that I sent you a couple of weeks ago from Galveston, we were on the beach of the Gulf of America, and what pulls up in front of us but one of those cyber trucks. And we got out, we talked to the owner, and we had a great time. When I first went up to him, he said he thought, oh, great, here comes a leftist to attack me, because that's what the poor guy has been facing.
Yeah.
Okay. But these efforts that Elon Musk has made to advance these electric vehicles, to advance technology and things of this sort. Yeah, he was the hero. Now he's saying, well, let's just be honest about what's going on in government. That's all he's really saying. Let's just be honest about what's going on. Now, who gets upset about honesty? The liars. Who gets upset about ending the corruption? The corrupt politicians. It's no more complicated than that.
But back when we have tapes of Barack Obama saying we have to cut back, we have to discover where we're wasting stuff. Joe Biden said it too.
Okay, they did, but here's the
lied.
question:
They're all
did they mean it?
From it?
Yeah, they also have tapes of Obama talking about securing the border. You know, they will utter these what in their mind is platitudes to mollify the masses. You know, oh, yeah, we'll throw a few crumbs in their direction, make them think they're getting something.
You know, America is all lied out. They're just lied out. They don't believe it anymore.
I think you're right.
I think that's it. And
they're still trying though.
Oh yeah, they're still trying. They're still got these people in these big positions that will eliminate your right to free speech and all.
But if they can't buy you off, what will they do? They will try to scare you. Okay,
they'll try to arrest you. They'll try to convict you of something.
So here's a good example this week of that one. You're looking at the flailing and the tantrums of the communist Chinese this week. Okay, and one post they put up there, they were literally showing a video of Chairman Mao to try and intimidate us. We are not backing down. This is who we are. And the rest of us go, okay, oh yeah, you think we're just going to sit back and let your Chairman Mao attitude come in and take over? Now, this morning, I just read where China is attempting to buddy up to the European Union in order to stand together against the United States. Okay. Now,
well, here's something they did that was really effective. Here, China figured it out. They're brilliant people, you know. They have now barred all American movies in China.
You know what? That's not a bad move.
That hurts.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, without Snow White over there, they're going to do better. I have to admit that. I might just think that, you know, they might be one up on us there, because American movies. Well, I'm talking about the Hollywood movies. We'd be better off without anything they've produced in the last 20 years too. But
sure.
But yeah, these are desperate efforts to scare, to intimidate, to use people's fears, to cause us to back down. Remember one of my rules of the Alinsky strategy? Remember, one of the rules is that the Alinsky strategy only works on those who allow it. That's true of leftist manipulations, same thing. And you know, the communist manipulations, if they can scare you and me in America into thinking that us owning guns is going to cause death in the streets, what do? We give up our guns. What do you have when a country gives up its guns? You have death in the streets. Okay, this is how these things operate.
Sure.
Americans have not been fooled by that. Well, some have. That's why they call themselves Democrats. But overall, the country has been, as you said, we're lied out. We're tired of this. We don't believe you people anymore. And what we're going to do is we're going to go back to what works. And you don't fight a war without incurring any hits, any casualties. And this is what President Trump has been trying to say about this whole tariff situation and trade war. We have two options. We can fight it, have some upheaval, win it, and be so much better economically. Or we can say in the short term, it's easier just to roll over like we've been doing. And our country goes gradually down into the doldrums, where it was back when Obama was saying, hey, you ain't going to bring any manufacturing back to America. You can't wave a wand. And that's where we were. We're in a whole different place now.
We got a big wand out there.
Yeah, we got a big stick. Yep.
Big wand in Mexico too.
And we've been seeing that just in the last few weeks, all these companies bringing their manufacturing to America.
70 countries are now wanting a plan for them. All right, 70.
Now, when the stock market sees that, it goes up. So what do they do? They double down with all the shrill hysteria on the media, and it goes back down.
Yeah, look what China's doing. You can't predict this. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
You know. So, all right. So let me ask you some other things here. The Dems are suicide rates for women are 6 times higher after abortion. So that's another thing that's not really taken into consideration.
No, the Democrats are pro-woman, right?
Yeah, that's supposedly pro-women, and half of the babies killed approximately are by nature they're baby women.
There are so many aspects to this situation that we could spend a whole show just talking about the whole pro-life, pro-abortion movement. I wouldn't quite use Owen's exact language there, but the point is that these people are deceitful.
Aaron's a class guy. You leave him alone. He's a patriot.
He's a patriot.
He pushes my stuff.
The abortion issue comes down to this: Will I kill my fellow human being out of convenience? And if I can find an excuse to do that, whether that fellow human being is a baby in the womb, or whether that fellow human being is a problem that needs a final solution. You know what I'm referring to there, back in the Nazi era. This is the step that humans will take if they fall into evil, if they fall into moral depravity, and it's all about me. It's not about the other person. It never stays in that little box. It's a cancer on humanity, and it spreads. The Democrats have gotten away with for decades claiming that they are pro-woman, okay, and they're pro-minority, right? You remember the founder of Planned Parenthood, Margaret Sanger?
Sure, I wrote columns about her.
She called minorities human weeds.
Yeah.
Okay, that's that same mentality. They're a problem that needs a solution.
And started the abortion business.
And she was there
in the black neighborhoods.
And she's still a Democrat icon.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, come on. I mean, that's dumb.
The point is that back to my original statement about America's fear or America's future. Will it be fear or hope? Which one will prevail? And here's what I really want to stress about that. The answer to that will come down to what is the founding morality of America. America was founded on Judeo-Christian principles. They come out of the Old and New Testament. They're a matter of what God and his prophets said are right and wrong. Okay, when we founded the nation, operate on the basis of those things, it flourishes. When we depart from those things, like every other nation in history, we depart from those things, we'll fall into ruin. Sure. And that's the message of this week with, of all things, the stock market. If we have hope for the future, we're going to see things flourish. We're going to do well. If we fall into that fear, we fall into the look out for number one, I don't care about the next guy mentality, the survival of the so-called fittest, the Darwinian approach, we're going to see America descend into chaos and madness. And it's happening in pockets throughout the country.
Now you are really becoming very popular in this show. Kamala is coming back, she says, and she may pick Liz Cheney as her VP. So what do you know
I think
about
there was a cheap shot in there somewhere. You're saying Liz Cheney is me being popular. Well,
I would never do anything like that. And by the way, you're very, very popular on clips from this show on TikTok. Do you look at that? TikTok and YouTube.
Well, you know what? You have to send me some links there because I haven't seen them. That'd be great.
Get on
all
there.
I'm telling all you TikTokers and YouTubers.
We're talking about huge numbers. You and JJ. I think they mixed you guys up or something. I don't know what the hell is going on, but you guys are getting huge numbers.
Well, that's great to hear. You YouTubers and TikTokers, I'm serious. I know this sounds a little bit self-serving. You need to buy this book. You need to understand we want to fight the left. We've got to fight smart. We've got to avoid their snares. We've got to stay on track, and we've got to deal with the issues as they really are and not respond defensively to how the leftist reinterprets them to put themselves on their phony moral high ground. It's just that simple.
Other than Dave Weinbaum Show, where can people find you and buy your book?
Well, I've been showing up. There's the WECU, which means we see you, WECU News. I have an article just there this week that's entitled Musk versus Alinsky, the Epic Battle. And then, my book is still available on Amazon. It's still the field manual for how to deal with all the leftist dirty tricks and manipulations.
Chris, I grew up on a rattlesnake.
Here it comes. Is Lisa there? Lisa, you going to help me out?
So you can't stop.
Can't reach the buttons.
You have shot your wad here. This is not good. Not good. I grew up on a rattlesnake ranch. I was an only child. I was an only child eventually. I beat you. I still got to laugh. Okay, golly. Terrible. All right, I still like you though, because you're a good person. Even though
thank you.
You will not let me tell a joke that isn't interesting.
Oh, I'll let you tell a joke. When you actually tell a joke, I'll go for it.
I don't know if I have a joke because you ruin them all. Okay. Thank you, Chris.
Good seeing you guys. Keep up the great work, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
You too. Keep up the great work. Bye-bye. Okay, well, that was Chris. Why won't he let me tell a joke? Everybody lets me tell the damn joke. Okay, so it's a joke.
He doesn't let you.
Well, I know that. That's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. My goodness.
Maybe you should start his session by telling the joke. Just
I'll tell you
get
how.
it out of the way.
I'll tell you. I'll
Right
start this. I think we need a little bit of. We need a little bit of the the thing that happens when you have a tire problem. I think we need that right now.
Good grief.
Good grief. That tickles. Stop it. No. All right, let's do basketball. I lost my nuts.
I just
damn. We gotta go straight to the basketball now. I think my nuts just dropped off. Oh man, that hurt. JP, you nearly fell on the floor on that one.
I was definitely caught off guard. You can tell how far back that
my lovely bride is so embarrassed, aren't you?
It's not my favorite thing.
Okay. But it's funny.
Yeah.
You got to admit it's a little funny.
Yeah,
Ooh, that's your favorite thing right there.
And you can tell how far back that clip was from because we had the smaller American flag and it was over here.
Yeah,
and with the large one we had the Trump sign. We didn't have all that before. So we've had some
we're doing this we're in our 17th year, for goodness sake. 17th year. All right. So what other things can we play? Because we got 2 minutes until Dalton's supposed to be here. Less than 2 minutes, actually. Let me see. What?
Well, in honor of me playing basketball last night, we actually have a basketball clip.
Let's do it.
Little lesson here.
Let's do it.
I noticed I read where you scored about 20 points a game.
That's right.
That's amazing. How can you possibly score 20 points a game?
Basically, most of my points are scored from the foul line. John, what I do is I wait until the other team gets the ball. Right. Then I just run down to the other end. Then I set up my position like this. Right. And then they just run into me, bang, like this. And then I pretty much
Well, that's intriguing. But do you ever actually get to handle the ball during the game?
I do. Once in a while, they'll get it to me. I'm pretty doggone good the ball handler. You know, I'm short, but once they get it to me, I got it. It's hard.
Oh, that's amazing. Amazing.
Thank you very much.
Well, I guess... I would imagine. I guess at your height, you actually see a different game than the other players.
Johnny, at my height, I not only see a different game, I smell a different game.
Pretty funny stuff. All right, good stuff. We got 5 seconds till my next guest should be here, and that's not going to happen, I can tell, because I don't hear any rumbling outside. I don't hear any rumbling. So let's go back to stuff. In fact, I got his interview right here. It's Joe Dalton. And where are you, Joe? Okay, but if you want to call the show, 573-578-2700, or...
You can also comment on Facebook, X, Rumble, and YouTube. And Lisa getting some love here on the screen.
Oh, she is?
Yep.
Oh, hello.
Hi, Pastor
Hi, Lisa.
Pat.
Meant
Love
to
you.
say hi to
Love
you
you
when
too.
I called a while ago. Love you, girl. Oh, she's feeling bad for me.
Huh?
She's feeling bad for me.
Why?
Because now she's making up to you because I allegedly hurt you with that joke.
Oh.
I don't think it's
think
worthy
she's
of it,
being
quite
nice.
frankly.
Okay.
Charlie Kirk attacked by Antifa. And it's in California. No cops physically attacked them, and the cops didn't show up. You know, they're becoming a country of their own right there.
Yeah.
I wonder what their tariff offer is. They have separated themselves from America. California, am I wrong?
Seems to be right.
Yeah, all right. SCOTUS okays Trump removing American criminals to their home states. Not states as in United States, but no, Venezuela and Haiti and all those other states. So they've kind of gone along now. But it was, like I said, 5-4. I mean, they were one vote away from Trump having to say, "Go screw yourselves. You're not over my branch," and just doing what he wanted, like other presidents have. You know, Madison and Andrew Jackson. Okay. FDR. That's right. FDR told him to go. You know what? FDR had some guys. He had them not assassinated, but tried and killed. They were Nazis. Executed, right. So SCOTUS okays Trump removing alien criminals. We got that. Big and nasty EU. Suck it up or down on zero tariffs. I'm not sure they signed the deal yet, though. I wonder if China, I heard China was trying to get them to help them, China, and sort of coordinate a little bit of a cartel that's going to affect Trump's ability to negotiate. All right. In the meanwhile, Trump is really working hard on our energy. He's going to build clean coal mines, saving Pennsylvania, and I hear Joe Dalton coming in. And this drilling is going to start very soon. And likewise with Keystone, I heard they had a leak in Keystone, but I'm sure that'll be fixed pretty soon. China punishes Trump, bans import of U.S. films. I've already gone over that. Isn't that something? Of all the things you would think to send us, that's a sign they're kind of clueless. Like, who would care about that? Really? I mean, the liberals who love China are making the movies. That doesn't make sense, does it?
Not a lot.
No. Okay, I don't understand. All right, that's coming for Dalton. So if he's coming, why don't you call Dalton on the phone? Where the hell are you? Because I'll just go on with something else. I got plenty of stuff. Okay, so amazing way to punish America. Ban their films. Oh my goodness. So the Newcomb's homeless dollars, federal crimes. They're federal crimes because the money is gone. $24 billion is lost. $24 billion is lost. And I'm thinking of the USA. And yesterday, sadly, 6 tourists from Spain died in a helicopter crash. And the thing split in half. Very odd for this to happen, but it happened in New York. And we've had a lot of these things, seemingly. I'm sure they had plenty in the Biden administration. And new poll, Kamala voters, millions are leaving the USA, as they said. Which, if she's going to run again, I guess that's going to be tough luck for her. It's just ridiculous, isn't it? What did Joe say?
So he had something come up. He is going to be calling me back here in just a minute. Probably go over the phone and all that. Share some information real quick. So
okay, yep. All right, that's good. Well, it's good to know. So okay, let's play those last 2 clips.
That was an ambush interview by James O'Keefe, but nevertheless, it was an admission that the hysteria had got out of control. And now we're learning that the FBI admits there were informants, and more importantly, they just released videos of the supposedly non-existent, not really, kind of maybe bomber who put these explosive devices in front of the DNC and the RNC, in which we weren't told anything. We weren't giving videos, but the implication in the leaks to the media was that this was some hyper-Trump partisan. All of these things demand the question, why now? Why all of a sudden are we no longer crazy that Joe Biden was not fit as a fiddle, that the quarantine was a mess, that Brett Kavanaugh was not a rapist or sexual assaulter, that there's more to January 6th than we're told?
Okay, now I'm told now that we have Joe Dalton on the phone. Is that correct?
I believe so. Hello.
Hi, I thought you were coming in.
I must have communicated poorly with you or understood poorly, but here I am. Sorry.
All right, so let me introduce you, president of Pregnancy Resource Center in Rolla, teaches others all over the world, along with his wife Jane. Please welcome Joe Dalton. Joe, you were once a fishmonger in St. Louis with connections with MLK. Tell us about that.
Oh, my daddy did.
Yeah,
he was friends with MLK, Sidney Poitier.
Oh yeah.
But
was he in show business or something, or what?
No, he founded an organization called Operation Family that was a civil rights organization. And it brought white and black families together. So basically, he would take a family of similar persuasion of faith, either Catholic, Lutheran, or whatever their brand was, and make them friends with the other people, that happened to be a different color. And they would have events every month, and basically, this is your best friend family. You're going to hang with them, whether it's picnics or whatever. So that's.
So growing up, you had a lot of access to these people, right?
Yeah. So one of the so I don't know if you remember, but in Clayton, Missouri, they had back in the day, that was the pool to go to. They had this huge pool,
sure,
a public pool. You had to pay
I know exactly where that is.
Huh? Yeah.
Yeah.
So my dad's running the organization, so we're there early. I'm playing in the pool, having a good time, and it was really busy. And when our friends, quote unquote, started to show up, all of a sudden everybody left. And I was like, "What? Why is everybody leaving?" I was happy because they were leaving. Yeah. But these people were reviled by the fact that black people were getting in the water.
Yeah, okay.
And they had to leave. So
that was a long time ago. That was in the 50s, wasn't it?
Yeah. No, it was
60s. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
65, 66, somewhere in there. But yeah, that's a memory that was burned into my mind. And I met with Alveda King, which is Martin Luther King's niece. I
know she is.
She's in the pro-life movement, and I was telling her about my dad's story, and she looked at me and she said, "I remember Henry." And what's important about that is his name is Michael. Only the people that knew him well called him Henry. So it's
Henry,
like, wow.
Henry, who? Your father?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
how about that?
That meant to me that I knew absolutely she knew my father. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay.
Because she called him by the beloved name, which is the middle name, which is an interesting thing as well. Because when my great grandfather came to this country, he was an Irish immigrant, and his name was Michael Henry Dalton, and they called him Henry all of his life. They called my grandfather Henry all their life, so they didn't get beat up for being Catholic.
Oh. Yeah, we all go through that, don't we?
Yeah. So
I mean,
yeah. So now we call you Dave Smith instead of Dave Weinbaum.
Yeah, because you know what? I'm hiding from the Irish guys like you. There you go. Scared to death. So how did you go from that to form what many consider to be the best pregnancy resource center in the world? I mean, you went from that background. What inspired you to do this?
You have the way of talking about stuff.
What do you mean?
No, my background was in seafood, and now I'm a fisher of men, they say. But and that's New Testament. I know.
Oh God,
I'm confused. But
you're a fisher of men, so
yes.
you're on Jesus' level.
No.
Okay.
No. Jesus
just
made
checking.
The disciples fisher of men.
Okay. I was just checking.
Okay. So anyway, I basically I was already in the pro-life movement when we moved to Rolla. And I was running a national pro-life organization, and when we moved here, I basically sent out a message to all the organizations we worked with saying, "Hey, we moved. This is our new address. This is our new phone number." And I got 2 calls that day, basically identical, saying, "This is providential. We've been begging God for a pro-life anchor to move to Rolla. You're it." And I'm like, what? So that's what I learned, that we moved to a college town without a medical pregnancy center. It's like, okay, we could fix that. We had Planned Parenthood too, so we need to do something about this. So that's how we got started. We never planned on running it. We just planned on helping it get started, but God has his ways.
Yeah.
So
that was your beginning of the PRC of Rolla. What was your starting strategy at first in saving babies?
Well, I mean, there was a gentleman that came down and helped us get started. Basically, John McCassell used to run pregnancy centers, and he kind of showed us the ropes a little bit. But as we got going, Jane and I both came from business, right? My wife Jane, and we're looking at these other pregnancy centers, and they're like successful 30% of the time, 35% of the time.
Yeah.
And these are rock stars, man.
Right.
People are being celebrated for being successful 35% of the time, and I'm like, no, we got to do better than this, right? So Jane is the brains of the outfit. Anybody that knows us knows that. So she basically converted the way we handle clients. We only use certified Christian life coaches to work with clients. It's yeah, I mean, most pregnancy centers are staffed with volunteers that are lay counselors. We have 7 certified life coaches here.
Yeah.
So, and the life coach helps them to the other side. And the whole goal is to get these women to the other side of their situation whole and healthy.
Yeah.
That's our job. And it's been quite an amazing path. But bottom line is our success rate is 99.3%.
Which is incredible in and of itself.
Uh-huh.
And what do? You don't just guide them through this to have the baby and then lose, contact with them, do you?
No.
What happens afterwards?
We're there for these mothers as long as they need us. I mean, we teach them parenting classes and stuff while they're pregnant, but we're there for them. We even have Bridges, which is our maternity home. So if they come to us homeless, we have a place for them. And
that means they can stay after the child is born too, right?
As long as it's needed. And again, Jane is going to do things differently than everybody else. But most maternity homes say that 3 months after the baby's born, you got to be out of here.
Yeah. Okay.
But we have a totally different approach. Our goal is to bring these women to self-sufficiency. So when we meet them, they're homeless. When they leave, they're on their own 2 feet, no food stamps, no HUD housing, completely on their own.
Yeah.
And they, they're able to make it. But I know that I don't have much time with you, but I've got a big story to tell you. Can I share it real quick?
Oh, please.
Here's the thing. We had a tornado rip through our town recently. About 2 hours before the tornado hit us, I mean, it carved a 8-mile path through our city, right?
Yeah.
But about 2 hours before it hit us, we received an urgent call from the Abortion Pill Reversal Network.
Yeah.
A woman that had taken the abortion pill had deep regret. And most people don't know this, but they think of the abortion pill. Well, they think it's safe too, because the media tells them it's really not.
Right.
But it's 2 sets of pills. You take the first set of pills, and then 24 hours, you're supposed to take the second set. Well, she had taken the first set and had regret. And if we can intervene within that day, 24 hours, we can, we can save the baby most of the time.
Yeah.
So at any rate, even though we were about to hit by a tornado, we were able to make this happen. Our amazing medical director was on the case. Jane was on the case, coaching her over the phone. And then the prescription was prescribed to her, which is high doses of progesterone, which is just just a hormone.
Right.
But
but it destroys the effects of the pill, the other pill she took, right?
Yeah, it counteracts them.
Yeah.
So the first pill makes your progesterone level go to the floor, and this is just counteracting that. But so the protocol is to do an ultrasound that day or the next day,
right,
to make sure the baby's alive.
Right.
And so Dr. Baldwin said, okay, come into the pregnancy center the next day for an ultrasound. Well, we didn't have power for 5 days.
Yeah, right.
So she couldn't have an ultrasound.
Yeah.
And this poor woman is at home just lamenting, is my baby alive? Is my baby not alive?
Yeah.
She didn't know. And so finally, after our power was back on, she came in, and I was out front of the ultrasound room door praying, and I heard a sound that came from that room that I couldn't tell if it was a cry or a laugh or a scream, but it was just the sound of absolute joy. There's never been a sound so beautiful run through here. I mean, happy tears are normal here.
What happened? I mean, what happened exactly?
She got to see her baby bouncing around in her tummy.
All right.
With
Okay.
the ultrasound. And so that baby came up on screen, and she was just elated, bouncing off the walls and jumping, and it was just amazing. I have pictures. It's going to come out in the next newsletter as well. So if you get our newsletter, you'll see it. But,
Well, do you have actual film of it? Because I want to play right now for my people what that is about babies in the womb that seem like they're just normal babies stuck in a womb waiting to be born. Here it is.
Nenê do pai. Mas, meu Deus do céu, gente. Ela tá feliz, meu Deus do céu. Bebê. Mas, gente do céu. Nenê do pai. Mas, meu Deus do céu, gente.
I mean, that was 32 weeks into the pregnancy, and she's like a little kid already. Her hair is done or something, or she's a beautiful face. She's smiling, reacting to her father. That's incredible. Do people know that?
It's so amazing, and the technology is just off the charts. We have our new ultrasound machine is a 3D 4D machine, and it's the clarity is just unbelievable. So
is it sort of like that one that I was looking at?
That was 3D, I think.
Okay, so yours is even better.
Yeah, and it's I don't know if it's better, but as good. It's the latest technology, and we have also it's simulcast onto a big screen.
Yeah.
On the basically close to the ceiling. So when she's laying down, she's looking right at it, and it's so amazing because we're looking at a 8-9 week baby that's huge on the screen, but it's actually very tiny, So it's a miracle to be able to see it.
Sure. Now here's a story that I've got that that's personal now, and I went to the Leach Theater last Sunday.
Yeah.
And they had a play called Annie. And I don't know if you know much about this. You might. And the family of my ex-daughter-in-law and my office manager, Summer, their whole family was in this. And who's playing Annie? But it's 80.
Mm-hmm.
It's 80. Her mother, April, plays as a maid or something, and her father, Tom, plays as a butler. And I was in a bad mood because we just got in at the last minute, and and then there was like 8,000 steps I had to climb up. And I get mad when I have to climb 8,000 steps and I didn't know I was going to. I'm in the last row. Okay. The only good part about it was you could see really well. And then I started focusing in, and I know the story. And the story came into my mind about this little girl playing Annie. And the interesting thing is that I went from being pissed off to crying. I couldn't stop crying because this little girl was so good at what she was doing. It was incredible. And to know about her birth is. Do you know about her birth?
Eddie's birth? No, tell me about it.
Huh?
No, tell me about her birth.
Well, the first thing happened is that they told Mom that that 80 isn't going to make it when she was in the womb, that she just has too many defects, and they tried to convince her to abort the baby, and she refused. And then the baby was born way premature. They had to take her to the Springfield hospital, where she was in a, what do you call a major
NICU?
Huh? NICU? Yeah, NICU. And still being told that this baby's just never going to make it. You might want to just let it go, and she says, no way. We want you to do everything to keep this baby, and they're staying at the Ronald McDonald House in Springfield, of all places, and this little tiny baby made it, and now she's like 11 years old, and she's a major singing star in one of the biggest productions that this town has ever had. Oh my God, this place was full of kids, full of women, full of moms. And it was incredible to see that and know that you know these people, you know? And I tell you what, I didn't have any Kleenex. So what I had to do was, and I hate to say this on air, but I had to kind of wipe it with my fingers and keep my fingers to where I could finally get into a bathroom and wash myself, actually getting in when somebody else opened the door so I could then blow my nose. I was crying so much. It was incredible. And I still feel that. That's the whole thing that you're after, isn't it?
There's a joy there, buddy. I mean, it's
well, sure.
The way you just described, I was fortunate to see the play as well. Just she did a great job.
Yeah. But
what you're describing, imagine, we've saved over 4,000 babies here, 4,044, and to know the beginning of this story, and I get to hold that baby later. Are you kidding me? I mean, it's like that's so awesome.
And you're dealing in terms of God with that. Right. You know that God He didn't create us to kill our babies, for goodness sakes. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Almost all the time, it doesn't make sense. Okay, this mother was threatened with her life. So anyhow, other than
do you remember at the banquet when I had that woman stand up and her daughter, who's 17 now, one of our first babies saved at the pregnancy center? So as a point of the banquet, I had her stand up. But my favorite story about this young lady is, I was at Summerfest.
Yeah.
And I was cooking at the Knights booth, right? And I got grease on my glasses. I can't really see very well anyway, but I look up and I see this cop coming at me, and she says, "Hey," and I'm like, "Wait a minute." My first thought was, where did I park at?
Yeah.
And she came up to me, and she had a little girl with her, and she walks right up to me, flips her shades back, and says, "Joe, it's me. I wanted you to know that we made it. I wanted to say thank you." And I'm like, wow. And I was just so blown away. This is Hannah. And so I kneel down to say hello to the little girl. She's like 3. And she says, "Hi, Mr. Joe. I've heard a lot about you."
Oh, that's great. Listen, I got to go. I got my next guest is on.
Oh, good.
And this might be interesting. Sure, it's my pleasure. And God bless. Thank you so much for all you do.
Thank you.
All right, now let's bring on our next guest, and there he is. And I think we need to play a little song, and we told about this earlier in the show because this could be a big deal today. Hit it. Spangled banner yet wave, o'er the land of the free, the home of the brave. All right, my next guest. I don't know that was appropriate, but I think it might be. Our next guest is sitting there. I believe he's in. I don't know if he's in. Are you in Arizona?
I am in Arizona.
Okay.
I'm at the house
I
today.
can tell by your talk that something has happened. Let me introduce him: a kinesiologist, Division I football and a player, and then a basketball ref, Division I, and now a J6er father. So, what is going on with you, sir?
Well, what we're still waiting on, unfortunately, is that a decision should be made in 3 weeks. So, yeah. So one of the things that we'll see one way or the other. Hopefully, there's still a lot of things. So I'm actually got to meet a Trump transition team on Wednesday. And Wednesday, basically, we're just kind of reconfirmed that everything's still put on hold, but hopefully a decision in 3 weeks, one way or the other, will take place. So that was I didn't know if it was going to be Wednesday or Friday. That's the reason why I was saying, hey, I need to find out when this meeting's going to be, and then basically it's just been. We've got lots and lots of programs and pilot programs that I've been working on that I've kind of not shared on the show and stuff, but hopefully the people listening will understand what I've been trying to work on. One is the farms to educational tables. So we've got the Native Americans that we have gone to and that we're working with, and that we're going to be doing programs, and we're going to start farming on reservation land. And the reason why is because we need to give back some kind of trade and things. And contrary to popular belief, farming is the oldest profession in the world. That's the first responsibility that God gave man in the Garden of Eden, was to tend the garden and to take care of and raise the meals that they were going to be eating there in the Garden of Eden. And so we're going to start.
One exception: you can't eat the apples.
Well, the apples, I mean, they've kind of taken the bad deal. That's, especially in Snow White and Garden of Eden and stuff. We don't have to worry about that now. You can eat all the apples because it's good for your eyes, the vitamin A that comes out of them naturally. But one of the things that we're going to be doing is that not only that, but I'm working with American Regenerative organization that for the farmland that's right now that have all of the aluminum and different pesticides and all the things there. What we're going to be able to do is we're going to be able to go in. It takes about 6 months, and we can treat that soil, and it disrupts all of the things, the GMO chemicals, the pesticides, all of the things there, and it brings the soil back to its original soil. The only difference is that we're going to have to go back to the original seeds, and we're going to have to plant those because they're not going to have the GMO support in the ground, and so they won't grow. So we have to go back to the original where we were kids and the food that we were eating as a kid. The other is that we're working with several ranchers, and we're going to be doing grass-fed, and we're going to have it where it's no longer antibiotics and no longer GMO products that are injected into the cattle. So it's going to be open range, right. And it's going to be food that would come back, and that goes directly to our educational tables. so that our children get that. And then, and so one of the things that we're doing is that this will be at the very beginning as we take back, the farmland that Bill Gates has bought that is being dormant, and who knows how he's been doing that. We're gonna have to, treat that and make sure what's going on.
Did he poison it?
Well, I don't know what he's doing with it, and that's the thing. We're going to have to research and see what chemicals have been dumped on there and what things have been done.
What did you do to the land that we're confiscating?
No, as far as I know, everything's going to be done legally. We're not going to seize property that was purchased properly. So the thing is that we'll do it correctly. And then the other thing too is that I was able to present to Bobby Kennedy when he was here in Arizona on Monday and Tuesday, a proposal that would save $88 billion in healthcare costs for our drug manufacturing. And so one of the things that we're going to be trying to implement, and I can't go into detail because one is that we're still in working in it, but I can assure you that $88 billion is the minimum that they'll be saving. It should be much, much more. And then we have another
million or billion?
Billion with the B.
Billion. Wow. That's
okay.
huge.
And so and then we also have a restructuring of all of the hospital care that we've got, and that's around $250 to $300 billion that we're going to be implementing as well. And so some of the things that I've been working on that just kind of touches the surface of what's been happening. I've had multiple meetings with multiple physicians across the country in regards to the COVID vaccine. You've already heard Bobby come out, and so we're going to be introducing a lot of the evidence and stuff that's taking place. And so as we're moving forward, and as I'm moving forward in doing this, these are some things that I can discuss, but we're still on the restructuring. We've got another 77,000 people that are going to be fired from out of HHS that still have to go, and so there's
does one of those include this Rachel gal? What's her name? Rachel Levine. And do you get to fire her? Or?
Oh, she's already gone.
She's gone. Okay.
Yeah, he's already gone. There is an assistant. There's an acting assistant secretary of health right now that's operating in that position, like several others that are in acting positions until. One of the things that President Trump is doing this time that he didn't do the last time, he hired people who had the knowledge, and they not necessarily were loyal to him. So people like Bill Barr that was hired, is he a good attorney? Yes, he is. Was he loyal to Trump? No, he wasn't. And
he
so
wasn't loyal to the truth either.
Yeah, and that's an issue and a problem. So one of the things that President Trump is doing right now is that he's going through, and that's kind of one of the reasons why it's taking a lot longer. He's vetting these people out, making sure, and they're looking at them, and it takes a while. You've got thousands and thousands of positions that even if Doge reorganizes everything. We're going to have thousands of positions that are still going to have to be filled. So we're looking at all of these things. And so when I like I said, I got to meet and got to on Wednesday and reveal the plans and what we're trying to do and what I've been working on and what I'm trying to restructure and stuff. And so we'll kind of see where it goes from there. It's still up to President Trump to make that decision and stuff. But on a better note, I don't know if you know this, but my son made national news and is going to be making national news in the next several weeks because he won a landmark case against Judge Boasberg, which he has to turn over all of the evidence for all the J6ers. So it actually did that. So the DOJ immediately stepped in.
Boasberg, right?
Jeb Boasberg.
All the information a judge on the 1/6ers, including your son, he's got to turn over all the what now?
So all of the video, all of the evidence, everything that has. So his and the thing is that I think that they dropped the ball because they made the motion, and what ended up happening is that the federal government did not make a response in time, and Boasberg had to rule. Well, once the DOJ and everybody realized what was about to happen, they immediately stepped in, shut it down, tried to overrule him. They made a motion. However, Miss Blackwell was never properly put onto the case, who came in and challenged and made the motion. And Ed Martin, who's with the DOJ, his motion didn't have his signature on it. So both motions actually failed to meet the level of objecting. And so Ryan's made another motion. He and his attorneys have made another motion that on that premise, which will then open this up, and then that will give all of the people, all 1,600, all of the media, everybody there will have unprecedented access to all the evidence pertaining to J6, and so
it's blow up the whole thing, won't it? It'll blow up the whole 1/6 fraud, won't it?
Well, and the whole thing is that it's the First Amendment right. We, the people, when the government is involved, have the right to know what's going on. They're using the premise that, well, it's a national security. Well, I'm sorry, but anybody can walk into the Capitol. Anybody can take a tour. Anyone can go in the areas where the J6ers were at. And so there's no national security.
Right.
And so that First Amendment right for the American people, and also, there's a lot of things that happened in Ryan's trial that were prosecutorial and judicial misconduct. Statements like what Boasberg made, that when they dropped the charges of entering into the Capitol, fighting with Capitol Police, and killing Brian Sicknick, when those three charges were dropped, the motion was made to drop the case, and Boasberg made this
the motion
statement.
was made against your son by a D.C. cop who swore he saw your son killing, what's the guy's name?
Brian Sicknick.
Brian Sicknick. And he wasn't
Correct.
even in the building, was he?
And Ryan never entered the building.
Yeah.
And so that was Michael D. Brown, the federal agent that went to a grand jury on January the 8th of 2021 and stated that my son had done that. Well, that's what served on February the 4th, a no-knock warrant in Lubbock, Texas, and where he was drug out in the middle of the snow and winter and shorts, no T-shirt or anything else, handcuffed, and stood outside in the freezing cold, and then was later allowed to go back in, get clothes on, and then was taken to the Lubbock jail, where he stayed there for about a week while the snow lifted and they could finally fly out and take him to Washington, D.C. to the Gulag. And so these are things that, are troublesome because once we got to the trial, we found out that they dropped those things. So they didn't have any information or evidence supporting a no-knock warrant. So again, this is part of this prosecutorial misconduct from the FBI and all of the things that are taking place there. And then they also shopped around instead of going to the magistrate that had jurisdiction, that was a Republican conservative. That was over Ryan. They went to Abilene to a Democrat radical and had the no-knock warrant signed with no charges whatsoever on the piece of paper. And so we got that by accident.
Yeah.
When they turned over that, we feel like that it was buried in so way they had it, they had several files, and this was buried in a file that was very massive and had numerous other files, and this was buried in that file, and then had a couple others. So there were like 4 or 5 layers that you had to go through in order to actually get to this document. But once we obtained it and everything and brought it to light, but that was way after his sentencing, way after everything. And then, of course, some of the evidence was given to Tucker because of Clay Higgins and stuff. And so we got to view that. And then some other stuff was also released. And so we were able to get in contact with that. And so it's just been a very slow process. But, the thing is that Ryan has a right to defend himself.
Sure.
And we had requested over and over pictures that he had taken that day. They said that they had accidentally deleted them and stuff. And all of these are Brady violations. Brady is the one that, stated that you have the right for discovery. We have the right to put on a defense. You have, and Boasberg was even stated that he couldn't use a First Amendment defense, which is completely unconstitutional.
Why? Did he say why?
No, he just said that we're not doing this in my court.
Really?
So the Constitution. Yeah, the Constitution was thrown out the window in Boasberg's
bigger
court.
than the Supreme Court. Then that makes him bigger than the Supreme. Is there any punishment that this guy's going to get?
Well, what I'm hoping is that time will tell.
Yeah.
The thing is that, and I've stated this multiple times on the show. A lie is halfway around the world before truth ever gets out of bed.
Yep.
And the thing is that the wheels of justice turn slowly, and they turn very, very slowly. But what we want to do is like in Ryan's case, because one of the things that was being looked at was, did he enter into the Capitol? Now, he was accused of it, but there's no evidence supporting that he entered into the Capitol. And the thing is that all of the evidence that we had would have supported that we never went out, but we didn't have access to that. We don't have the videos. We don't have the pictures. We have nothing that shows that we were inside.
That go with it, the timelines.
Correct.
When somebody else says he was there, I saw him at such and such time, you don't have any defense then.
Correct. And the thing is that Clay Higgins then gave us, after Ryan had been sentenced, after he had gone to the prison in Arizona 3 weeks before my election, which was weaponized against me. So again, it's all political. The thing is that why is it that they came after my son when I was with him 100% of the time? I testified under oath that I was with him 100% of the time. Whatever he did, I did. But I was a congressional candidate. They made it political. It is political, and there's proof that what this government did against the people. And so that's the reason why we're making sure that as we go through. So we were very happy that it came out. It's the Gateway Pundit article.
Can't wait to see that. I know
that
those
came
guys.
out. And it has Boasberg's picture and it has Ryan's picture on there.
Hey.
And so one of the things that Ryan's name has been also with Boasberg, his name was thrown out with Julie Kelly because she brought up the fact that Boasberg has done unconstitutional things and used my son's case as the example when he was trying to prevent the
Kelly? Is that Megan Kelly?
illegals.
Is that Megan Kelly?
No, Julie Kelly.
Who's she?
She is another reporter that has been reporting on the J6 stuff. And so what you can do is you can kind of Google her and bring her up, and then you can Google Ryan there, and it'll bring the article up. But it showed that Boasberg was trying to prevent the MS-13 from being flown out of America to El Salvador and stuff. And then they used my son's case as an example of the hypocrisy. He showed no constitutional rights towards my son, yet he has constitutional rights for people who are illegally in our nation. And so we just need to make sure that this guy stays on the front lines and how corrupt he really is, and that the judicial system is corrupt.
It's corrupt and it's dangerous, and all these federal judges need to be fired. They don't need them.
Well, there's another process in which we're going to end up having to go through, which is the legal process, and our Constitution states that our founding fathers literally stated that the weakest link in the three is the judicial. The problem is that
unless they're local judges in a certain particular area of the country, they have no business doing what they're doing. None.
Correct. No judge should be at the national level, and no judge should be affecting. The difference is that one of the reasons why they made the presidency so powerful is the fact that they are the only position out of all of those that is, across the nation. The senators are just for the state. The congressmen are just for the state that they're in. And so the congressmen are supposed to represent 700,000 people. The senators, they represent half of whatever number is in the state. But the president is voted by every person in the nation, and therefore more weight is put in. And so 77 million, people gave a mandate to President Trump that we're going to put you back in office, and we want you to change the system, and we want to get back to what our founding fathers had stated, and that's what he's doing.
That's do we have the last two clips on? Who was that? The clips was that? Yeah, I want to play the Victor Hanson last two clips and get your comments.
That was an ambush interview by James O'Keefe, but nevertheless, it was an admission that the hysteria had got out of control. And now we're learning that the FBI admits there were informants, and more importantly, they just released videos of the supposedly non-existent, not really, kind of maybe bomber who put these explosive devices in front of the DNC and the RNC, in which we weren't told anything. We weren't giving videos, but the implication and the leaks to the media was that this was some hyper-Trump partisan. All of these things demand the question, why now? Why all of a sudden are we no longer crazy that Joe Biden was not fit as a fiddle, that the quarantine was a mess, that Brett Kavanaugh was not a rapist or sexual assaulter, that there's more to January 6th than we're told? It's either A, they're afraid there's going to be an accounting very quickly from the Trump administration, and they know that they had done things that were not just ethical, but perhaps illegal. Number two, it also could be that in time, and they are opportunists, most of these people that I talk about, they see the national mood changing, that we're at peak woke, and the reputation of the FBI or the NEIH or journalism in general is at an all-time nadir. Or maybe it's something even more dramatic, like if I were Donald Trump and his team and we had lied and done all of these things and I was now in power, I know what I would do to people like myself. So it's a projection that they have culpable, a feeling of culpability and exposure, and now they're trying to get everything out before there's an accounting. Whatever the reason is, it's quite amusing and in a tragic way funny.
Okay, that was Victor Davis Hanson.
Right.
And I mean, I had a whole bunch of clips I played earlier. I thought we'd be talking about something else today, but what do you think of that?
Well, it goes hand in hand in exactly what Victor had stated, and I agree with him. The thing is that what they did was they did things to the Republican people who were innocent because they're guilty of the very things they're being that we are being accused of doing.
Exactly.
And so they're going to punish them the way that they would have been punished. And so what's happening is that we're going to do that. The outscream right now is when is Adam Schiff? He's already been proven that not only did he help collude with the Russiagate and the Pfizer reports and all of these other things, that he has his hands directly involved in all of that. And the outrage is that, you know, Pam Bondi's not doing her job, that Kash Patel's not doing their job. No, they're doing their job, people. It takes time to make sure that every I is dotted, every T is crossed. And the thing is that what we want to do is make sure when we finally go to trial, that we have everything in place so that when they are tried for treason and found guilty, that we implement what the consequences of what treason rises to in this country. And so more than anything, the stakes are going to be higher because, again, if somebody has it's kind of like, when did you stop beating your wife? It's that question of, well, it doesn't matter how you answer it. Yeah, you're wrong. What we need to do is we need to make sure that here we have pictures of this. We have things here. We have all of this evidence, and it shows that these things have happened. And once they've happened, then there's a guilty verdict that can be rendered. And the thing is that you also have to understand there are still millions and millions of people that are still asleep that still think that Rachel Maddow is the greatest thing and is telling the truth. And until we get to that point where they're going that she's a fraud, she's somebody who completely lies, she's a propagandist and stuff, and that she is completely a tool for the Democratic Party. Once they start realizing that, then all of a sudden we start making headway.
Well, we're getting close, and that's why I keep saying, just for insurance, Trump 28. I'm serious. And then you'll be in charge of the whole HHS, right? And also, you got to somewhere along the line that you got to utilize Thomas Haviland. All right.
Absolutely. Well, and the thing is that that's one of the things that we're going to be doing is we're going to be looking at health insurance. I didn't even cover health insurance.
I know. This is
all of these other things that are going on.
This is big breaking news enough. You're always breaking news.
But it was really nice to see Ryan and the success that the attorneys and everybody, they've been working really hard. And Peter Tickton and Mark McCluskey and are all they're working extremely hard for the J6ers.
Yes.
All
right. So other than Dave Weinbaum Show, where can people find you and contribute to Ryan?
Well, you can go to giftsandgo.com/Ryan Zink. Every penny goes to his legal defense. We still haven't raised, enough money to even cover the first trial, let alone this other trial, the other two trials that we've had since then, and we're going to have multiple more. But the great thing is that the people can actually now feel good about donating to somebody that's winning, and we're moving forward. And so I think that this is going to be important to get these attorneys, because they've all been suffering as well.
Okay. Did you hear about the quarterback who returned from the dead?
No.
His passing was incomplete.
Complete.
Okay, I gotta go. It's like I got 25 seconds to go. Thank you so much. And I will stay in touch, believe me. Okay, pal?
Okay. All
right, thanks.
Bye-bye.
Thank you all for listening to the show. I thought I had a big scoop, but we might have had a bigger scoop into the 1/6 thing. This is raw news. I'll be back with another edition of the Dave Weinbaum Show next Friday.
Keep walking, keep on your toes.